Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome on in. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, along with Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. Good to see you, fellas. How was our weekend? Did we have a good weekend, guys?
We actually did, man. But we got to get some stuff going, man.
Yeah, I was trying to do the soft landing into it. Yeah.
No.
Hey, look, I'm in a fight mood anyway because I've been up since 7:30. I got people banging all over the house, man. Fixing now. They're moving this way. My wife decided she wants some new shutters across the front.
Right.
Also, we need. She's been after me for a couple of years. So now that we have this crew here, I say, hey, can you put them up? So yeah, they're putting them up. So they start on the far end, and I'm in my bedroom, and they'll be coming this way soon. So you will hear drills, hammers, everything else. So if you have to go, huh? That's because they're right outside the window where I am in a short while from now. So I've been up 7:30. What?
What took you so long?
Barrett, bite your lip. Bite your lip, Barrett. Bite your lip. See, if Trish was here, she'd be all over this.
She deserves it.
Yeah.
What do I deserve? What about me?
We'll get to all the house issues, but so on the show Friday, we were having a discussion and we were talking about the Eagles naturally, as we want to do on our show. We talk about everything, but the Eagles certainly are the probably dominate more airtime than anything else. And at one point, Derek, you referenced what you had been told by someone close to the situation at one of the OTAs. And I don't want to
one practice.
So right. Then that's caused a firestorm. It's all I'm hearing on WIP. It's all I've gotten on social media all weekend from people reacting and doing the usual, oh, this is clickbait, and all that. And then AJ Brown, Eagles wide receiver, jumped in on it, and everybody's kind of having a field day here. So I want to let you, and there have been others in the media who should know better, who are chiming in and saying things. But anyway, let's start with you, Derek, and what exactly you said that you had heard. And let's put this in context because sometimes people take a quote that they see rather than listening to the entire soundbite and reacting. So the floor is yours.
So what did I tell you guys? Twitter is Satan, okay? Basically, Twitter is Satan. So basically all I said was I was informed. Now, first of all, anybody who knows me over the last 25 years in this region knows I don't put something out there unless I got it in an authoritative comment, correct? I think we can all agree on that.
Correct. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. So all I said basically was I was told at one practice, Jalen Hurts struggled. And they weren't doing 11-on-11s. It was like 7-on-7s. But, it basically was the equivalent of 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, 3 incompletions, okay? Or, 4 incompletions, 3 sacks, whatever adds up to 10. I can't remember. Man, this new math killing me. That's all I said. And I'm not surprised that once it hit social media, people took all with it and ran with it in 100 different directions. I'm not going to back up from what I said. I said it. Mm-hmm. It's out there. If and the thing is, it's on tape. You can go watch our show, Sports Take, from Friday and hear exactly what I said. I'm not going to back up from it. But people took it, well, they weren't doing 11-on-11s and they weren't doing this and I didn't say that. We all know it's a controlled environment. I basically said it added up to the equivalent of these things. But see, once again, people hear what they want to hear. But that's all right because people are trying to get, that's clickbait. Don't believe it. Yeah, okay. There are a lot of people in our media that do things and say things for clickbait only. And I'm not saying any names. Mm-hmm. If you're smart enough in the Philadelphia region, you know who they are. I don't do that. If you look at my Twitter line up and down for the last 10 years, you don't see me throwing clickbaits out there. Okay? So you get that out of your mind right now. Now, all I said was one practice, and then Barrett started shaking his head. Yeah, well, I heard the same thing. Am I correct, Barrett?
And I did, and
there you go.
These guys aren't going to be perfect. You guys everybody knows I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. You know what I'm saying? I understand what it is to be in this market as a player. But I can't even imagine being on the level that right now that Jalen Hurts is on. We're talking about the starting quarterback of an NFL team. And he's not going to be perfect all the time. In fact, he does have, some stuff that he needs to work on. That's absolutely what happened. Boom. I heard the same thing from a reliable source. I don't know if it's the same source as Derek Gunn because we're not going to, we don't do that. That's why you keep a source. Yeah.
Yes,
you keep a source by not giving up a source. So,
exactly.
it might not be the same source, but I did hear that. But also in talking to that source said that, hey, I'm telling you, the kid is ready to rock. He said, you're right. The kid is ready to rock and roll. He didn't have a good day that day. I said, well, you know, you give him camp. You know, give me your synopsis over the entire camp. He said he's definitely improved his mechanics. He improved how he approaches the game.
There you go.
He improved a lot of things going into this season that he's going to be a much better player than he was before. I said, that's all I can ask for. And then I asked him, well, will he be a $4 million quarterback? And the same source said that's the going rate for starting quarterback. It doesn't necessarily depict of him being a top 10 quarterback. It doesn't say he's going to be a bottom 10 quarterback. That's just the going rate for what quarterbacks are going to be paid as starters in the NFL. As we continue the conversation, I said, well, what about Jimmy G? He was like, well, you know, just talking to sources there, Jimmy G will probably more than likely be in San Fran. So, it wasn't just us talking about Hurts or anything else. It was talking about, you know, a wealth of information was being processed during that time, going back and forth. What I've heard, he's heard, you know, and that's how it is. And that's how
you meant 40 million, right? Not 4, right? Just
40 million, yeah, 40 million.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay,
40 million.
Just to clarify. Okay,
I'm my fault. 40 million.
Gotcha.
40 million. 40
yeah. So, but again, so just the problem, I think, what happens a lot of times now, not that it didn't happen back in the day, but it's way more prevalent now, is context. So what you were saying was that was the report that you got for that day. It doesn't mean that this was every day of the OTAs.
No,
you know, the other thing people are going crazy with is the sack thing. The sack thing is essentially like the clock would have been up, right?
Thank you.
How long you have to get rid of the ball. Not that he's being tackled to the ground, which they don't do anyway.
No.
They wouldn't do with quarterbacks anyway. All right. So there's that part of it.
They do keep a clock out there. So you see, for those who don't know, they keep a clock, a timer out there.
There you go.
During 7-on-7, would say, all right, because you know a quarterback is not going to get over 4 or 5 seconds to throw.
No,
correct.
No,
you know,
he's got to either throw it away, complete it, or scramble.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know, a 7-step drop probably happens if you're an offensive lineman. You block more than 3.5, 4 minutes, you've done your job.
Right.
Some players that, you know, like Hurts, like Randall Cunningham, like McNabb, you know, tend to hold the ball a little longer. If they hold the ball a little longer, that's when you get the escapability, and that's what enters into the, what you're talking about as far as, you know, a quarterback having legs that he can move around. And, you know, so I mean, a guy like, a statue back there, like a Peyton Manning, he'll have the ball out a little faster because he understands what his gifts are, and running is definitely not his gift. So he'll get it out a little faster. So that's what you got to put it in context. You know, there's no rushers out there, but there's a timer out there that gives them. Defense knows that it can't cover for 10 seconds. They can't cover for 5-6 seconds. That's just, you're trying to get the work in. That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah. So again, just trying to clarify this and make people understand who don't take the time to listen to the entire clip, number one, who want to just react off of like third-party information that they're getting, number two, and think that, not that I need to be your lawyer by any stretch, Derek. I don't. Your body of work speaks for itself. But for someone who's done it the way that you have done it and the way you conduct yourself for as long as you have, this isn't some Skip Bayless hot take where you're just trying to get people to react. And the other part is, whenever you talk about a quarterback in this town, could be Jalen Hurts, it could go back to when I was a kid, it was Ron Jaworski. It's polarizing. Everybody loses their mind. There's no objectivity. It's one or the other.
It's social media. It's
social media,
man.
Exactly.
And this will die down in a day or so. See, the thing is, when I saw it, I just started laughing on Twitter, and I saw these different comments, and I'm just laughing because that's exactly what happens. You know, you got so basically, I'm lying. If anybody knows me, how long have you known me, Rob? 25 years?
Yes, 25.
How long have you known me, Barry?
Well, you wouldn't talk to me, but I have known you 25 years.
Wow.
You've known him. I said hello once, back when I was, just a guy playing on the team, when I was on the team. You wouldn't interview me, but I did know you back then, but you didn't know me. Yeah. Never asked me a question. So I mean, but we've been close for the past 7-8 years.
Yeah, 7 years. Derek's been ignoring Barrett for 25.
Right.
I would also emphasize too close in some way. And as for AJ Brown, I applaud AJ Brown for sticking up for his boy. I applaud him. That's what you do. Coaching staff, that's what you do. You rally around your quarterback. As a teammate, you stick up for your teammate. This is who you have to go to war with. I applaud it. Yes, but I'm not going to back down from what I said because I don't make it up.
No, sure.
I've been covering this game for over 40 years. I've covered the Chargers, the Packers, the Steelers, the Eagles. I've approached every reporting aspect of my career the same way I reported what I just reported last Friday, okay? If I don't second and third cross-reference it, I don't put it out there, okay? That's simple, and people want to run with it to get out. It's mid-July. They're not going to play a game until September. And you think I'm the only one that's going to negatively critique? How many people since last offseason have negatively critiqued Jalen Hurts? How many times since we started this show on April 18th have all of us sat here and said, I'm pulling for Jalen Hurts. I hope he proves everybody wrong. I hope he makes a $600 million contract. I do.
My dog.
The way he goes about his business, the way he handles himself in front of the media, I applaud the way this young man at 24 years old approaches his business. I hope he proves everybody wrong. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to report something I hear on the cuff,
right?
Just
and
like everybody else.
Derek, that's the other part. I think of really probably any show, we've been about as fair with Jalen Hurts as you could be. And I mean this on both sides. Fair
Absolutely.
in that I think and not that we all share the same opinions on everything, we certainly don't, but I think on this one, we're all in this sort of mindset of probably didn't have enough last year. He's in his first year as a starter, as a full-time starter, with a first-year head coach and a first-year coordinator, and there's a lot to be said for that. They went out and they got him weapons. Now's the year. Put up or shut up. Let's see what you got. There isn't one person who doesn't tell you repeatedly how much this kid works hard, what a leader he is, on and on and on. So it's strange to me that people, especially people who should know better, come out and say things that, question this. But whatever, it's all good. You remember.
Right.
I have a memory like an elephant. Man, so
you do, man. You
that's okay.
You remember the 50 cent I borrowed from you when I was trying to vending machine.
Wow.
That's 55 cents now, man.
Wow.
That's the vague. You're paying some juice on that.
Wow.
But realistically, Jalen Hurts is in a position where he can be as successful as any quarterback in the league, or he can regress. Like 9 times out of 10, most of the quarterbacks in the league. Yeah. I'm looking at it almost like I'm looking at San Fran's situation, but it's 2 quarterbacks instead of the one Hurts quarterback.
Right.
I see Jalen Hurts is a guy that could be Jimmy Garoppolo, who can run the team, be very efficient, get them to the playoffs, even get them to the championship game, even get them to a Super Bowl with his skill set. But I also see a quarterback that can regress and can be, he could be, Trey Lance, who hasn't gotten good enough to command the team, so they're keeping the guy around they shouldn't. Right. I mean, I see it both aspects. He could go either way. I'm on the board thinking that he's going to do like Jimmy Garoppolo and be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo going into championship. I think that he could be that type of player for this team, especially with the weapons that they have for him. And, I might be a little biased. He's my quarterback of my team, number 1. Number 2, he's my fraternity brother. Number 3, he's just a good freaking dude.
Right.
I mean, He has all the things. And I'm tired of talking about intangibles because I know a lot of quarterbacks that don't have intangibles who are great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But he has that. He has everything that you want from a quarterback. I think the biggest thing for us is, and the weird thing is not necessarily how many games he can win, but is he worth that $40 million a
year?
There you quarterback
go.
Money
and
that
also,
he may acquire.
You brought up Jimmy G and a couple other guys. There's a big difference between being Jimmy G and being Ryan Tannehill, who are good players who get you to the
Kirk
playoffs.
Cousins.
Yeah, or Kirk Cousins, who Cousins it puts up numbers and all that. That's fine. You're obviously like those guys can get you to the playoffs, and that's great. Can he win you a championship? Is it fair to ask that question? We know, guys, there's tiers, and there's Rodgers and the upper echelon, right? And then there's some really good quarterbacks in that next tier. Is that where Jalen tops out at? And I just don't think we know right now.
Well, let me give you this, Rob. I'm gonna give you one quarterback who is both of those. Who's both of those? I played with Ben Roethlisberger, but then I didn't get a chance to play with Big Ben. When I played with Ben Roethlisberger, he was Ben Roethlisberger. He hadn't made the title. He hadn't become the title of Big Ben yet.
Right.
He didn't become Big Ben for me until he won the Super Bowl. The next Super Bowl he won, where he had the immaculate pass to Holmes for the touchdown to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's when to me he became Big Ben.
Yeah.
But I did play with Ben Roethlisberger and won a Super Bowl with him when we won the Super Bowl in spite of Ben Roethlisberger.
That's a great point.
In spite of him. You know, it wasn't like he had a bad game, but he had the game that he wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't even throw a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. It just happened to be over my side, too. I'm just letting y'all know.
Barrett, I think that is a great – no, I mean it. Way to get yourself there. Nice job, man. That was awesome. Don't tear a rotator cuff.
Right.
No, but I'm saying I think that's a great analogy because he was still – in the the infant stage, he was kind of growing up, right? He
didn't throw a touchdown pass,
right.
And you guys, your defense, right? And Randall L. and other guys in your defense picked him up, right? Okay, and the other game, he had to do some things himself. Not all of it. There was obviously guys made plays in the game, but when you needed a money throw, he made that. He grew into that. Right. These guys aren't finished products. Like the notion that Jalen Hurts at 23, we're talking about a guy who's 23. Okay.
Right. He just turned 24, didn't he?
I'm sorry.
24. Yeah. 24.
Can't get better
when
he's entering his second full season as a starter is absurd.
Exactly.
Of course you can get better. So
exactly.
But it's not a guarantee. So we just don't know. And that's what, we could sit here and we could bang our heads in the wall and we could debate whether he is or he isn't and all that. We'll know this year. We're going to have a much better idea, I think, of where he's at because he's been given the weapons, because I think the coaching will be better for him. And you take that next step as a player, as you mature, like anything else in life. You're not going to be as good at it when you first start.
Exactly.
Okay. You need reps, even at the pro level. I know this kid's been playing football his whole life, but I'm talking about at the NFL level. And this is it this year for him.
You don't think the Eagles organization has a two-tier plan in terms of Jalen Hurts? Either they will find out he is the quarterback of the future this season, or they already have a plan in place of what they're going to do in the offseason of next year.
Right.
You don't think they think that far down the road? Yeah. It's that simple. It's an either-or situation. It's not a gray area. This is not a gray area.
Right.
Either Jalen Hurts is going to rise to the occasion and shut up a lot of people, or the Eagles are armed right now and in a good position to move up in the draft if they want to look for a quarterback in 2023. It's that simple.
Right. No, and you know what, Derek, to your point, okay, the other piece of this is, do you think it was a coincidence that the Eagles made that trade so they had 2 first-rounders next year to have the ammunition to try and get relatively high to either trade for a present quarterback or get up and draft a guy? No, that's not us. That's not you. That's not the media.
That's smart business.
That's right. That's the Eagles writing themselves an insurance policy in case this doesn't, which means they don't 100% believe. And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world either. It's okay.
No.
It's a show it to me lead.
It's smart business. That's what you're doing. You don't just plan for today. You plan for the long term. You got to plan down the road. You think when they decided to draft Carson Wentz, they just on a whim decided to draft Carson Wentz? No, that was a long-range plan as they looked at their quarterback situation.
Oh, look what they had back. Look what they had in the same. They said they had what's his name in the locker room with him. They went out and got Sam Bradford, so they knew that he wasn't going to be ready. They had somebody there that could play. Man, that's just the nature of how it is. But also, even in saying that, you look at the draft picks that they're going to have. It's not like these draft picks are going to be high. We're still going to be right around 19, 20, 21, because I do see the Saints being pretty good, and I do see the Eagles being pretty good. So in saying that, if the Eagles are where I think they're going to be at, they're going to be drafting pretty daggone far from being up there with them upper echelon quarterbacks like the Van Dykes, the guys like that.
Yeah, Stroud, those guys.
Stroud, yeah. So I mean, it's going to be, we got to put things in perspective. He's still going to have to do a lot of maneuvering if they choose to go in that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Believe me, I'm not saying it's like an easy. He had to perform miracles to get up and get Wentz. That was incredible.
Absolutely.
Not every draft you can pull that off. Right. I agree.
Right. But still, though, looking at that, I still don't see them being able to get down there, because if they are picking around 25, 26, then Jalen Hurts did his job and he's the guy. You know what I'm saying?
You go.
If they pick any lower, if they're down there around 10, that means he wasn't the guy. Correct. He had a terrible season, and they're going to go in that direction anyways.
Yes.
Well, I would also.
And by the way, I'm with you, Derek. I like that AJ had his back, but of course he's going to have his back. AJ's his boy.
Yes, that's his boy. Good. I will also throw this caveat out there also. Barry, you say if the Eagles picking that low, then Jalen's done his job. Well, you could also say, you said it, they could have won in spite of him. The defense could be that much better. They could win in spite of him. Hey, you know, there's a quarterback in 2000 who was not a great quarterback, but won the Baltimore Ravens won that Super Bowl because what? They had one of the best defenses in the history of pro football. Okay.
Right.
No,
I played against that defense.
There you go. And so, you know, there are other quarterbacks who had great measure of success. You know, the Jake Delomes and all these guys, there's a whole bunch of those out there that had a good. Was Phil Simms a great quarterback?
No. Was Hostetler? No.
Was
Right,
but they had monster defenses, didn't they?
Brad Johnson. I mean,
there you go.
It can happen. Is it more rare? You better be very special in other areas for those guys to win.
Like defense, you know.
I just want these people, you know what, all you people out there in social media, you know, listen one more time because I'm tired of saying this. I'm tired of saying it, okay? I am rooting for Jalen Hurts 150,000%. I hope he shuts up a lot of people. I hope he proves a lot of people wrong. I hope he goes on and gets a $600 million contract. I really do. Kudos to him because he's earned it, okay? So anything else I or anybody on our platform says outside of that, it's an opinion, okay? It's because we've heard things. It's not just stuff we throw against the wall like some members of our media will throw against the wall just to get so-called clickbait.
Yeah.
We don't do that. If you know anything about Rob Ellis, Barrett Brooks, and Derek Gunn, we don't mention it unless we've talked to people firsthand. It's that simple. Whether you agree with it or not, that's on you. You don't have to agree with us, but we're not going to throw it out there just to be throwing it out there. And if it upsets and stirs the hornet's nest, so be it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, and I just think too, I hope at some point, I'm afraid the cat's out of the bag, but that we can go back to being able to be critical without being a hater, being able to throw praise without kissing a guy's ass. You know, there can be a happy medium here where you're looking at it objectively and saying, you know what, he didn't have a good practice that day, but you know what, he crushed it on Thursday. That doesn't mean you hated him on Wednesday or you love him and you're blindly loyal to him.
Fail. You want him to fail. You know what?
So you guys want the good old days where we had to wait till the next day to hear about it and read it in the Inquirer and stuff like that. No. Hey, I want to thank the super chat also. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty cool. You know, you doing that.
What happened?
The super chat. You know, the Philly, right there, super. I mean, that, you know, we appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Super chat. What is that?
They paid us to you know, have his opinion put out there. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Okay, I think it was took out of context. I also think it was shocking because most reports said he's been better. A bad day is fair to say, but we ain't hear it then, so that's why it felt like it's so out of left field. All right, fair enough. Yeah,
and also know there are a lot of things that I know I will never put out there. I think since we've been on the air April 18th, we've had enough people like the Brian Westbrooks, the Brian Dawkins, the Jeremiah Trotters, and they have confirmed that D-Gun has kept a lot of stuff to himself, and that's why I've been able to get so close to players in the organization. Okay. So there are a lot of things you will never hear come from me, but if they ever get out there, yes, I can confirm.
Bro, you had Howie Roseman on, bro. You had Howie on.
What else you want? So that should tell people.
Buried. You know where all the bodies are buried, and you still had Howie Roseman on.
Bro. So that should tell people the organization understands I'm not out to do them in. I am not against the organization. They understand that I've been fair and objective for 25 years in this market. Yeah. And there are things I will say I've had disagreements with the front office that we have discussed intelligently and adult-like, okay? And we've also agreed not to disagree on certain topics. That's all part of the program, okay? It is. I'm a big boy. I'm not gonna back down.
Yeah, one thing you know with us, if we put it out there, we're not walking it back. Because we meant it. It was sincere. It was genuine. It was legit. I think people, you know, I hear you better walk that back. Walk what back? That he didn't play well during a practice? Walk it back.
Walk it back. Yeah,
so
you better walk this way. You better take yourself and walk over this way.
As Aerosmith once said, walk this way, or Run DMC. So anyway, yeah. But again, we got a lot of football in store today. James Palmer from the NFL Network is going to join us at 1. Remember, he had James on right before the draft. He kind of he had a pretty good feel of everything that was going to be happening Eagles wise. So I'm looking forward to talking to him and getting his impressions of just everything that's gone down this offseason. So we'll talk to James at 1 o'clock. Certainly, Phillies. they had a pretty wild weekend, guys. They lost yesterday, but they took the first 2 games, both shutouts over the Cardinals, and they just keep figuring out ways to win. We got some all-star nods and some all-star slights for the Phillies, which we'll get into as well. We didn't dig in on Friday to the tough parts of the Eagles' schedule, so we're going to get into that as well. Some Sixers stuff, some fun. I'll pose the question to you guys. Can you still root for your team even if there's a guy on the team that's a bad dude?
Ooh.
So we'll debate that. And I'll set the context of it a little bit later, and all kinds of other stuff in store. So we see everybody in the chat. We appreciate you. Sorry to get a chance to acknowledge everybody personally, like I usually do off the top of the show, but we appreciate
you. Came out guns blazing, Rob.
Yeah, even Mrs. Brooks. We didn't say hi to Mrs. Brooks like we always do. No disrespect, Mama Brooks.
She's watching the show, but she's watching on the TV now, so she can't respond on her phone. She's watching. She just can't respond. Hi, Mom, and my grandson, bro.
Oh, she's home, right? She's with you.
Yeah, she's with me.
Oh, Mom's there.
Oh,
we gotta talk. We gotta get Mom on the show this week. Mom needs to be on the show.
Yes. She's cool.
Yeah, Mom needs to be on the show.
She's watching my grandson's playing this game.
All right.
Mrs. Brooks, we need you on the show for about 10 minutes. That's all.
Can you guys see? Can you see any of these like cuts on me?
What happened, bro? You can't shave like that, man.
So I bought these like cheapskate razors.
Oh,
like
geez.
not the ones I usually buy.
Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness.
You can't go to there's only certain things you get from the dollar store, bro.
You might as well use a plastic butter knife, dude.
So I finished up today. I'm like, man, it doesn't feel great. So we had our show meeting, and I go upstairs. I look in the mirror. I'm like, I'm all broken out. I was like, I shaved for the first time today with these crappy razors, man. Anyway,
what name
bro,
brand
I did the
did you
same
buy,
thing,
dude?
man. I would have shaved my head and everything before the show too, man.
Yeah, I forget that. I don't even know what the name of the brand is. I don't even
Toys
know.
R Us? I mean,
They were really cheap, bad. I usually use Gillette, which is really legit.
They're the greatest ever, bro.
Double edge, baby. Double edge.
They didn't have them, and then there was this other kind that was like ridiculously expensive. So I went with of course, the cheapskate, ones, and I'm paying the price.
Okay,
to say the least.
All right,
so.
when you start bleeding on air, don't say we didn't tell you, man. I'm telling you.
Tourniquet, yeah. All right, so like I said, James Palmer at 1. We'll hit some Phillies. We'll hit some Eagles, tough parts of the schedule, a lot of other stuff that we will dive into. So don't go anywhere. We appreciate you hanging with us on this Monday. We are Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Huh?
I gotta eat my
All right,
eat what?
Pop-Tart, man.
All right, get your grub on, man. Get your grub on.
You don't put it in the microwave first?
No.
He eats it raw.
Oh, that's gross, man. You got to put it in the microwave, man.
man.
You got to soften it up, baby.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
nasty.
let Barrett eat, and we will we'll keep doing our things and
Yeah,
letting everybody go crazy around us. We will do that. That's for sure.
All
right. So you guys know, knowing who to trust with your finances can be very, very scary. And I'm right there. I'm right there with you. But I can say from personal experience that I found somebody who I trust with my finances, and that's Jim Murray with Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you may have a small business. You're trying to set up employee benefits. It's another resource that Jim can help you with as well. Look, for me, I don't claim to be an expert in finances. I use Jim a lot as a sort of sounding board and ask a lot of questions because I don't understand all of it, and he is phenomenal with it. I've used him and entrusted my IRA with him, 401k rollovers, you name it. I couldn't be happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him at Murray, MURRAY.Jim @principal.com.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the poles and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Welcome back in, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great, relaxing weekend out there. That's for sure. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. D. Gunn, B. Brooks, Rob Ellis. We were talking a lot about Jalen Hurts and the Gunner firestorm that started last week.
Always starting trouble, man.
Always trouble.
Cheers.
You're trouble. You are trouble. Oh, you got your little look at that. Your own special Yeti there. Father, what's it say? Father of the Year?
Father of the Bride. This is when my daughter got married in 2020. She had the parents and all the bridesmaids and the grooms. This is one of the gifts that her and my son-in-law gave us, was our own personal,
Oh, I'm about to say it because I didn't get one. I don't understand.
Because you weren't a part of the wedding party. You weren't a part of the wedding party, man.
Bruh. I was. Y'all made me feel as though I was.
What? No, say y'all. It was them. You know me. You know how I feel. No. I tried to get him to take a plate and go.
And that's why Trish and all of them were looking from side eye like this.
Yep.
I had all the waiters and the waitress said, look, when you see this dude 6'5", 345 pounds come in, I want you to wrap his plate up with foil and tell him the exit is that way. Don't let him sit at a table.
You know what he wanted to do to you, Barrett? He wanted you to be Nnamdi Asomugha eating in the car. He didn't want you. He wanted you to sit in the car with your plastic fork.
Right, Rob. Hey, I'll come in as soon as I come in. He's got the code red
security.
Code red.
There it is.
Hey,
yeah.
blue
jacket.
We would have even piped the music to your car. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you, bro. I mean, seriously.
Or just have him roll down the window.
Look,
the DJ
man.
can play it really loud.
Look, and even ice cream. We had a whole ice cream bar set up, dude. They were making bananas, faucets, and everything. Oh yes, dude. We had let me tell you. Why do you think I'm still hemorrhaging, Rob?
Right. It was
2 years later. I told you I paid for 2 weddings in less than 3 years, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. Man.
I'm still hemorrhaging, man. And Barrett won't loan me any money.
That's not right.
Cheap, bleep.
Some guys have your back. Some guys don't.
I know, Rob. I know you got me, Rob.
I got you, man.
Barrett only does it on the surface.
Checks in the mail, Derek.
Bro, I love you. I love you like a stepbrother, man.
Look, he won't answer my phone calls. He don't respond to my text messages. He don't send
some of the text messages you send, man.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You need help. You do need help.
Right. Everybody thinks D Gunn is just this upstanding citizen, man. Some of the stuff he says, man, I'm telling you, man, he's walking the line, bro. He is walking the line,
That's
man.
awesome.
I'm like,
it's not true. See, my wife could be watching this. You over here lying. See what I mean? Now I'm gonna get a phone call. So what are you saying, Bear? No.
Yeah, my goodness.
Bear's exaggerating, man.
Oh, I'm exaggerating. Ooh, we have some coworkers, man. So he got some coworkers, man. He just he's lazy. Now he sees what I'm talking about. we had some ex-coworkers, man. We had together, bro, and they were just some of the stuff he says about him, bro. Is terrible, man. Rob, you know how it is, Rob. You know
it's all in good fun,
right?
Oh, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're dropping dimes, man. You're laying the guy out.
Weird. This is my squad right here. This is you guys understand, man. You know, CTE and everything, man. I need a release sometimes, and you guys give me 3 hours of this.
This is your safe haven. This is your safe zone right here.
I didn't even say anything about stuff Barrett text. I didn't even bring that up.
I mean, I'm just saying the 4 of us.
And
you
your
guys
mom's
think it's
right
3.
there.
It's the 4 of us. No, because I mean, you guys give me relief. The 4 of us, you give us relief.
We're therapeutic.
The 4,
yeah.
Derek and D Gun. No,
D Gun.
Derek, D Gun, and Rob. The 4
man. D Gun got issues. See, it's D Gun who send you. Is D Gun who send you those texts? Not Gunner. Not D Gun. I can't control D Gun. I'm just telling you right now.
It's nice to have that other. Yeah, I got the joke. I got it. It's nice to have that other persona, man.
Hey, look, man.
It's like me, myself, and Irene. Have you guys ever seen that?
Love that movie, bro.
Love that movie, man. Jim Carrey out of his mind.
Oh, Bear, talking about the D Guns. What are you talking about? You're giving people the wrong impression. Bro, I am the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Which one though?
It don't make a difference. I am the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
So that's it.
But let's get back. Before we move on, let's go back. Barrett, how the world are you eating Pop-Tarts without putting them in a toaster first, man? Barrett, Rob, do you do that? Because I'm Rob. If there's a finicky eater out there, it's Rob Ellis.
I would go toaster. I'm not. I'll eat Pop-Tarts, but if I'm eating, I don't eat them a ton. If I'm going to eat them, it's toaster.
It's like eating raw dough.
No, it's not raw dough. I like it, man. Plus, I didn't have no time to put in the toaster. I'm up here talking with you guys.
You got to soften up the blueberries, the strawberries, man. You know, and
you eat blueberries?
Oh,
you all bad.
I like
man.
the strawberry.
It's all
bad. My blueberry is my favorite. Oh, my goodness.
Mine is cherry, bro. I can't believe you eat, bro. That's against the law to eat blueberry, man.
Cherry is nasty, dude. Cherries are nasty.
Blueberry Pop-Tarts is nasty. That's almost like black licorice, man.
No.
That's almost like black licorice, man. Blueberry, yes it is. Yes it is.
No. Meanwhile, Rob's like, how did we get off on this tangent? How did we get here?
I'm good.
Rob is sitting back like, I'm glad they're off my dry Cheerios.
Yeah. For once, I'm not the butt of the food joke. Go ahead. I'm going to the crawl space. You guys have fun. Yeah.
You know where you eat cherry Pop-Tart. That's nasty, man.
Look at Jeremiah Butler. Jeremiah Butler puts cherry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man.
Hey, whatever gets you through the day, man. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at.
Of course, for a guy who else watched eat 10 White Castle burgers in one day and almost threw up. I'm not surprised he said cherry. So
you know what? My mom actually brought me some fried rice from St. Louis, bro. She froze it for me.
What?
Because it's bro, I tell you, man, it's the difference in fried rice everywhere else in the world, Chinese food everywhere else in the world, and I mean,
I didn't know that about St. Louis.
It's
I knew the barbecue, but I didn't know.
I still don't know it.
Fried rice, it's the Mecca, Mecca.
Wait a minute, you telling me more so than San Francisco?
Yes.
You're telling me St. Louis is the Mecca of fried rice?
Yes. Yes, it is.
You really want me to believe this? Really?
I'm so serious, man. I'm so serious, man.
All right.
I believe it.
It's like,
my goodness,
people come from miles around, man, to get fried rice. There are actually athletes that played for like the Rams and the Cardinals and stuff, that they go back just to eat the fried rice and then leave, go back.
Damn,
bro, I'm going to St. Louis for ribs. I'm not going to St. Louis for fried rice.
Until you taste the fried rice.
Better ribs, St. Louis or Kansas City?
Oh, that's
Kansas
tough.
City. Kansas City.
That's
both.
tough, man.
I said it. I put it out there. Let me start another controversy. I've had St. Louis and Kansas City ribs. St. Louis ribs are very good. They're exceptional.
All right, I admit it.
But when it comes to ribs, Kansas City, woo,
by far, yeah, by far.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, they are. I hated to give my just like I mean, are we transitioning over to baseball now? Because it was a great day in Philly sports, but it's a bad day in St. Louis sports. You know, baseball heaven, man. It's messed up.
Well, you guys got one yesterday. I mean, look, the Cardinals won yesterday. I'll tell you, guys, this has been a playoff feel kind of series. like really
Yes,
tight
Absolutely.
games,
Absolutely.
well pitched, well played for the most part. Guys stepping up in big spots. Like that game Saturday, man,
Yes.
was
Woo!
drama. Okay.
What a game. What a
And the
game.
Phillies survived it and won it. And the Cardinals, in turn, yesterday had one of those kind of games where they came back and won. There we go. We got the pooch.
There you
Now, who's
What?
that again, Barrett?
This is Yoki.
Yoki.
That's Yaki.
Yeah.
That dog,
Depending on
Yaki.
the boat
That
trip.
dog-
Yeah.
That dog,
Bro. Leave my dog alone, D-Guy.
that dog was yakking up a lot.
Bro.
Didn't she have like throw up in her hair?
Yes,
like
yes, it was
Like a
in her
Christmas
ear, and
tree
it was hanging out,
on it.
and it
something
wouldn't go
about
nowhere,
Mary.
man.
Yeah, it was something about Mary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She was just sitting there, you know. She wouldn't even move. She was just sitting there.
Hey, look, Rob, the dog was like this, Rob.
Leave my poor dog alone, man.
All right. Speaking of that, yeah,
That dog
I'm
yacked up alone.
this morning. I'm pulling some weeds. I know that sounds exciting, but I was pulling weeds today in the front, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm doing it, kind of look like your dog, Barrett, except straight hair, not the curly hair. This little dog comes motoring past me going down the street with nobody around. I'm like, what is this? No collar, by the way. Okay. So I can't, I'm like, I got to get the dog. Now it's on me. I saw it. Like, I can't let this dog get hit by a car. So I start chasing the dog around the neighborhood, trying to catch it. And it's a little teeny thing like this. And I'm running and things like, moving with his little quick legs. And he or she, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. They're running into like backyards. And all of a sudden I'm like trespassing in people's yards trying to find the dog. Right. So the dog goes across the street. I'm chasing it. I go into the backyard. The dog wheels out of the backyard, tries to goes into my driveway, tries to get in my house, but there's a fence, goes to my next door neighbor. And I finally kind of corner the dog and I get the dog and they're at my neighbor next door. And I bring the dog over and I'm knocking on the door. And finally they come out. They're like, oh, there's Fluffy or whatever the name is. We weren't sure where he was. Like they barely cared. I'm like, I've been running around the neighborhood for 15 minutes and you don't even care. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yo. So if that hadn't been me, I'd have seen the dog. I'd have been like this.
I know. I am just too much of a sucker, man.
I ain't chasing the dog down. I'm sorry, man. It's too hot out there. I can't be doing
I'm
this
gonna
stuff,
get
man.
shot running in somebody's backyard trying to.
Right. You gonna get bit by a bigger dog.
Or bit.
Hey, Bear, imagine if that was us running through somebody else's yard.
Oh man.
No, bro. I ain't
I
doing
hear
that.
I hear you.
I'm not gonna be a statistic.
Listen, I got you. So anyway,
No.
Back to the Phillies real quick. So
Rob's like, is this
you go.
Monday?
Yeah,
Hey, Rob, just keep in mind, we got 4 more days after this.
I'm the Segway king. So speaking of tracking down stray dogs, the Phillies. No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so they're up 2 games. It's a weird series, guys, because it's a wraparound. So they play tonight too. It's the last game of the series tonight. It's a 4-game series. They're up 2-1. They go shutout. Wheeler was spectacular Friday. Gibson, who had been awful his last 2 starts, he goes 7 shutout innings, and they win that game 1-0. It was insane. And then they lose yesterday in a really good game. Play at the plate that was overturned, ruled safe, and St. Louis wins. But all in all, a very good series, so far for the Phillies. And 46-40 on the season. They're in sole possession of that final wild card spot. They hold a tiebreaker over the Cardinals and the Brewers. So they're starting to set themselves up, pretty nicely here. And you got Nola going tonight. So not bad.
I told you that
even
back
right
in
now.
May.
Yeah. Even right now, just them going, if they lose tonight, just going 2 for 2. You know what I'm saying? Is a win in my book. Because they hold the tiebreaker. So I mean, I'm starting to change my way of thinking now. I mean, they might be buyers. I don't think they should touch anything, but they may be buyers, man. They may be.
Yeah, it's feeling like that. Barry, you know what I think it's going to be? I think it's going to be a buy, but not one that you're just, whoa, you're in awe. I think it's going to be a necessary piece kind of buy. It's a tune-up. It's a new tire. It's not
be a wow factor.
Engine.
Yeah. It'll be a middle of the road deal. It won't hurt the Phillies in terms of what they're trying to do, but they'll look at it as something that can strengthen the bullpen. I don't see them needing anything else other than a little bullpen help.
I like a starter, Derek, just because I don't know about Eflin.
I keep telling you, put a Pell in there. Keep telling you. I keep telling you, because now that you have Hand and Sir Anthony alternating as your closers, they've been doing a really good job in that dual role. So they don't need a closer right now. They might need another setup guy, and I would move Appel. That dude, I don't care if he only goes 5 innings. Hey, you know what? Fulton's been going 5 innings the whole season. I don't care if Appel goes 5 innings, because right now he's only pitching 1 and 2 innings. Can you imagine if you get 5 innings out of him throwing the way he's throwing the ball right now?
Yeah.
That takes a lot of pressure off the back end of your bullpen.
No, it does. There's no question it does. And it gives you insurance policies if these guys can't stay healthy. If Eflin and Suarez can't stay healthy. You brought up the bullpen, Derek. It's incredible. I know they gave a couple up yesterday, but that was a bullpen game. It was the whole game was the bullpen. They have been awesome lately. I mean, that if there's anything, I think there's a lot of things you give Rob Thompson credit for. One of them is I think they're much looser as a team. I think Girardi had them wound so freaking tight, man. Like it was just, not good, not healthy. You know how it is, Derek and Barrett, when you're trying to play and you're just overthinking everything and you're, whatever.
Absolutely.
I think that's one thing. But the other part of it is he has really managed this bullpen and given those guys defined roles and they know where they're going to be now.
Yep.
Is that the biggest difference? His control of the bullpen and giving those guys those defining roles?
I think so. I mean, look, there have been what Schwarber's done has been nothing short of unbelievable, right? And it's gone a long way. He's carried them, man, especially with Harper being down. But
you see that diving catch he made?
He made a great catch. He
did up also
the other day. I'll tell you, I was really happy for him to be selected to the All-Star team. He deserves it.
Yeah.
I mean, 28 home runs. He's the only guy who has more home runs than him is Judge this year. So he's right behind Aaron Judge.
He's a big dude too, man.
He is a big dude.
Stocky dude.
He's
man.
put together, dude. He looks like a linebacker. He's kind of built like that. I'm sure he played football back in the day. Yeah,
you can tell.
Oh, there's no doubt. But so he's been really good. Hoskins, to his credit's had a really good year for them, and they're surviving. Like that, there's something going on with this team where they're figuring out ways to win games, and there's an intangible to that speaks to that. So. Speaking of the All-Star game, and Schwarber's undecided if he's going to compete in the home run derby. He doesn't know yet. He did it in 2018, I think. But he's the only one going. I mean, Harper got voted in, but he can't play because of the injury. No Wheeler, no Nola. Wheeler's got a 2.46 ERA, a 1.05 whip. He hasn't allowed a run, guys, in his last 2 starts in 14 innings, and he's not going right now unless somebody is hurt. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to me.
I like it. I mean, I still think he's getting the finger, man, as far as
the finger
playing All-Star game. Yeah. And the middle one, that is.
Number one. Not telling him he's number one.
Yeah. But I mean, just to have those guys in consideration, man, is something. But I mean, just to not even be invited, I just think he's getting hosed, man.
I mean, look at it this way, right? So he'll at least be able to rest. He'll probably have a bit of a chip on his shoulder, right? So maybe that's the positives you take away. I mean, you can really make a case for Nola too. Nola's had a really good year, and he's not getting in either. But there are guys that always kind of beg out. It's not quite at the NFL Pro Bowl level where guys nobody wants to go to it or be involved, but a lot of dudes do step away. So you could very well see him get in there. You all right, guy?
You know what? No, I'm still trying to get past Barrett talking about the finger. But you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't mind Wheeler and Nola's not going to pitch in the All-Star game. You know what? They get a few extra days of rest, chill out. Let the arms, rest up for the stretch run, because we need them more importantly. I have no problem with that. It's an honor to be selected to the All-Star game. I know a lot of these guys like that because in some cases it entails bonus money as well. Right. I get it. But for the most part, I don't have a problem with that. If Schwarber only gets 1 at bat in the All-Star game to avoid possible injury or anything, I'm fine with that. If he comes that, I know people want to see these guys play, especially the way Schwarber's the talk of the National League, just like Aaron Judge is the talk of the American League. I get it, and he's deserved that, rightfully so. But you know what? Get him in, get him out, and you know what? More importantly, the Phillies need him down the stretch. I don't want some fluke accident to have to do rounding the base, steps on the bag wrong, anything, tweaks an ankle out 2 to 6 weeks. You don't need that, man. The way he's hitting the ball right now.
That's fair. Keep that dude in bubble tape, man. The bubble wrap, the way he's been playing.
You know,
exactly.
Trying to bunt, we don't need any of that, man.
No. Or some ill-advised 97-mile-per-hour fastball off of a body part. We don't need any of that.
Or you ask him to bunt, ball ricochets off the bag, hits him in his nose, and all of a sudden.
Right.
I don't think Schwarber was bunting. But yeah, I hear you. Something to keep our eye on, and we talked about this a little bit on Friday because Rob Thompson hinted that he was going to address it at some point during the series. Apparently, the Phillies have pushed it off until before tonight's game. But there's a lot of smoke out there that there's a decent amount of Phillies who aren't vaccinated. And Canada, you can't enter the country if you aren't vaccinated, and they play in Toronto on Tuesday and Wednesday. So, Major League Baseball has the exemptions where you can bring guys up, whatever, and use them in these kind of situations. But you could be looking at a really compromised lineup the next 2 days for the Phillies, to say the least.
Any word on how many players?
No,
allegedly,
we've heard like 7-ish, but that's not
7.
confirmed. That's not confirmed, though. Just to be clear, and that might include pitchers.
Well, we'll get a good look at the future of this organization.
I don't know if you want to be looking at that. The future's in like single A. It's not a ton in triple A, man. Yeah.
Man.
I mean, can we afford to let those 2 games go? That's
not really, man. I mean,
not really.
This feels like it's coming down to the wire here with these wild card spots. I'm not even talking about the division. You don't want to be, giving up anything here. But what are you going to do? I mean, the organization, it's their individual. Like, we're going to talk about the Joker a little bit later, but Djokovic, who won another Wimbledon yesterday, and I was watching a little bit of that, but it's his 7th. He's not going to be playing in the U.S. Open because he's not vaccinated. He's already said it right now. So it's an individual choice.
Wow.
You can't make them get the vaccine, and we kind of knew this last year with a couple of the Phillies players that this was the case. So it's
tough, man. It's tough, man.
It's a life choice,
and
if you take the vaccine, I applaud you. If you don't, I applaud you as well. It's your choice. I mean, there's still a lot of uncertainty. There are a lot of people out there that still have uncertainties about this vaccine, what's in it, what it could do to your body long term,
Right.
And I applaud you. Now they're saying that kids 6 months to 5 years can now take the vaccine. I don't know if anybody's going to let their kid take a vaccine at 5 years old, 6 months old, let alone 2, 3, and 4 years old. Yep. This is still, the vaccine has come a ways. I mean, they're still working on it to improve it, but it's not 100% effective. Medical experts have already said it's not 100% effective yet. So, for those who take it, more power to you. For those who don't take it, who are still waiting to see where this thing goes, more power to you. I don't blame you one bit.
Oh, look at me. See that's what I'm talking about, man. Look
what?
T for Tuna, man, my captain, man.
Where is he?
Oh, no, It's not loyal. It's not about the vaccine. It's about being on this fishing team, man. It's the Duke of Fluke, man, is coming up. So he already had his team, right? Let me put it all down.
What happened? What are we talking
out there? That's my captain right there. That's the Captain Tony. Let me put it out there. He had a team. I never fished with him on the Duke of Fluke.
That's the name of his boat, just for people who
no, name his boat. No, it's Fine and Dandy. But the Duke of Fluke is a flounder tournament that that they have. But I've never fished in the Duke of Fluke.
I got you.
Because he already has his team that this team has been together for like 5 years, 6 years. You know what I'm saying? You can't just get in there. But for our doc, I always fish with him for our marinas fishing tournament.
Okay.
Well, I get asked by another one of our doc mates, if that I can come fish with him. He asked me, all right, I know you're not fishing with Tony. Why don't you come fish with me? So Sean's, great guy, what I'm saying? The Bad Beagles, their boat, him and Kim asked me if I'll fish. I was like, of course I can. I can't fish with Tony. So Tony, he calls me yesterday morning, but my grandson had my phone and lost my phone. I finally get my phone back. I see he called me, so I call him back. And he said, oh, well, you going to fish with me? And I said, well, I've already made the commitment to fish with Chauncey and Kim. And what happens? I get that in the chat. I'm not loyal anymore. That's terrible, man. I couldn't fish with him. Now I can fish with him because one of his fishermen can't fish with him. Now I'm not loyal because I can't. I'm like, I can't win for losing.
I tell you, man, it's like social media, man. You can't win.
I hear you. All right, so let's step aside. Let's get it back to the Eagles, as somebody once said. James, I might know that guy. James Palmer from the NFL Network is going to be joining us, and we're going to run through all things Eagles, NFC East, NFC. Jalen Hurts, so we talked a lot about earlier. He's also stationed out of Denver, so he's got a pretty good feel of what the sense is with Russell Wilson being out there with the Bronx. So we'll talk about that as well. So don't go anywhere, guys. We got a lot more in store here on Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, D Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. Let me tell you about Pro Action Restoration. You got a home, you got a business, you got a property. You know the dangers, whether it's water, fire, smoke, mold damage to your property. Man, it is nasty stuff, but they can help you with it. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I've gone through it. It happened at my parents' house, older folks, bad water in their basement, and it was a mess. I call on a Saturday, and Pro Action is over there in record time. They get over there, they clean it up. It's a reasonable price. My parents are thrilled. I'm thrilled. They are the best. They're licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So again, whether it's water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call at 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com, proactionrestoration.com.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Well,
There's
that was
the music. All right.
That was abrupt.
I thought we were all going to be singing in unison there. I don't know what happened. Welcome back, everybody. Sports Take. D Gun, B Brooks, Rob Ellis with you on this Monday, and we go ahead, Derek. You all right?
Are you guys in a good mood today?
Yes,
very much so.
Good, I am too. Because I'm looking up and down social media. People have lost their doggone minds. It's Monday. I just want to make sure we're all in a good mood.
I think that
today.
applies to every day on social media.
I'm in a happy place.
Minds that were lost a long time ago. That's for sure.
Well, people will say mine, but it's another story.
Yeah, maybe good point. All right, we spoke to our next guest. It was just before he was actually in town covering the Eagles that week leading up to the draft. So it's been a minute since we talked to him, but he does an amazing job for the NFL Network. You follow him on Twitter as well, at James Palmer TV. We welcome back to the program James Palmer. What's happening, James?
What's up, guys?
What's up, fella?
How you doing, D-Gun?
Living a dream, bro.
Bear, how you doing? I'm good, guys. I'm just like, this is my last week of like doing what I like to do. And then it all ends, on Sunday. So
where are you going to be stationed? What are you?
I'm hosting a week of Good Morning Football.
Nice.
Starting Monday through Friday of next week. And then I'll come back home, and then who knows? They haven't even told me where I'm starting yet. I'm assuming in Denver I'll start with Russ, and I'll be here with the Broncos because they've been irrelevant since Peyton Manning retired. And I've known that very well when I look at my Marriott points and my miles with United, because I don't spend much time here. So I might start off with them, but I usually hit, guys, probably 10, 12 camps throughout training camp. This is probably my favorite time of the year. Like I love going camp to camp. I love the access, watching everything. They are very generous with us at NFL Network that I can kind of go a lot of places on the field with some teams, which is nice. And obviously nobody's hiding a whole lot because they all think they're going to win, and nobody's lost a game yet. So it's a great time to talk to people and get a little bit of what's battles are coming, what they really think about this past off season and what they want to accomplish in camp. I love camp. It's probably my favorite time of the year outside of the postseason.
Dude, how many frequent flyer miles do you get a year?
I got a lot. I know I'm somewhere. I mean, miles vary, D-Gun, because I could do. It's weird. Like the year that Brady went to Tampa, I was going back and forth to Tampa like crazy, and that's a long stretch. That other year when Mahomes is on fire for his MVP year, I'm like, man, this stinks. Kansas City is like right next door. I'm not getting the miles I want. But
going back down.
Yeah, so like I'm usually around like 120, 130 Marriott nights a year, somewhere in that range. So the wife loves it with that direct to Kawhi from Denver. So
there you go.
I take advantage.
Hey, before we get to football, I got to ask you the most important question we will ask you in this segment. You've been to St. Louis before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously you've been to Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
Which ribs are better, Kansas City or St. Louis?
I'm gonna say this is a tough one, DF, because I I used to live in Houston, so and I used to live in Atlanta, so my barbecue taste buds are pretty decent. Everybody does something decent. Like nobody should mess with Texas brisket. Like that's alone on itself.
That's right.
I'll take that. I'll say that. You're right about that.
I think that's what they do better than anybody else. I think Kansas City barbecue is a little overrated. Personally.
What?
Oh, okay.
What?
D-Con is upset now.
Get him off the show right now. Get him off the show.
Hello, may I help you?
So you would go slightly into St. Louis over Kansas City?
Slightly, but also I would say, I know better hole in the wall spots in Kansas City than I do St. Louis because I've been there so much. Okay. So I think like Q39 doesn't get enough love in Kansas City.
I agree 100%.
I also agree with that.
That's
Gates
a really,
is the best.
really good spot. Yeah.
Hello, may I help you? As soon as you walk in, it's a long line. They still, as soon as you walk in, hello, may I help you? There's 1,000 people in line.
Yeah.
I remember this. This is a total name drop, but it's hilarious. I was eating at Q39 with Willie McGinnis and Steve Smith. The three of us are out to dinner before a playoff game. And people obviously want to keep coming up to guys. And Steve can be a bit,
right.
He's not the guy when he's in mid-bite, I'm going to be interrupting.
That's the thing. Somebody comes up and puts their hand on Steve's back. Ooh. Steve, a huge fan. I'd love a picture. He was just mid-bite was like,
yeah, no, that's not the guy.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And I was like, Steve, that's Steve. And Steve loves the food here at Q39.
Yes.
So do not interrupt.
Yeah. He is a non-mess with dude, Steve
big
Smith.
time.
Yeah.
That
Big
is for
time.
sure.
He's great on TV.
Well, James, look, so we got a chance to talk to you about some of the things the Eagles were doing, what we thought they may do in the draft. You talked about Jordan Davis, I remember quite a bit when we talked to you.
Yep.
You know, you look at it now in total, Hassan Reddick, AJ Brown, Kazir White, the draft picks, you know, throwing James Bradbury into that mix. What's your sense of what just kind of the overall what they did this offseason?
I think this is one of the better off seasons in football. And I think we put too much emphasis, guys, on the first portion of free agency, those first couple of days. Everybody kind of forgets that, and I'm trying to think who's really big on this. Chris Ballard's really big on this in Indianapolis. You build your team throughout the entire year. And everybody puts so much focus on the beginning of free agency and maybe the first 2 rounds of the draft. I mean, you look at James Bradbury, that wasn't day 1 of free agency. You know what I mean? Right. They took their time figuring out, like, Hassan Reddick's a good fit. I just think they went about it in a variety of ways. And that's usually when you have pretty good success, when you don't reach too much. And we can get into it. I don't think the A.J. Brown contract is a reach. I don't think the trade for him is a reach. I look at the way, you know, and everybody in Philly kind of knows him, the way Brett Veach built that offensive line 2 years ago in Kansas City. Like, they had one free agent guy they wanted to go after in Joe Tooney. They went through a trade to get Orlando Brown, and then they draft 2 other guys. My dog's going crazy.
What's your dog's name?
Right, Hank the Tank, who's like a 110-pound chocolate lab, is just
Hank the Tank. Yeah, let's see. We got to see Hank.
Yeah, Hank, come here. Let's see if we can like move this camera to see Hank. There's a tail.
I see the drum.
Yeah, the drums are here. Yeah.
Hey, James, don't worry about it because Barrett lets his little Fifi walk across the screen on top of his desk. So
yeah, he's
don't
got
worry
like
about
a Paris Hilton kind of dog.
Let me get Hank out. I think my wife came home and like Hank's like going crazy.
Wild. All right.
And so I think guys, when you look at the way you build your team, and I'm always fascinated by how guys do it in the offseason. I think this offseason's been really good so far, and I don't think they're done. I don't think like certain guys like Howie, you know, it's their strength when they come from that side as opposed to the scouting side, that they're always on the phone. You know what I mean? They're always looking. Yeah. And I think that's a strength of Howie's. And I think that's the strength of having the mindset that your off season's never finished. And I love what they've done. I love some of the patience that they've had. I love that Howie was aggressive at times, and at the times it was too much and didn't want to pull the trigger. And so I think the way he went about it and the pieces that they put in place, we can break down this defense. Like, I don't know if Jonathan Gannon will be back there after this season because of how much the league loves him as a potential head coach, but he's got everything at his fingertips right now to make this defense play pretty well, actually.
But Jay, I'm glad you brought up his name, and I don't get it because after one season, he gets all these interviews, and I keep hearing his name as a hot commodity as a head coach. Why? I mean, I understand he was he was deficient of talent with the Eagles. Maybe he couldn't do a lot of things he wanted to do with his defensive scheme. But why? Why did his name rise from the ashes all of a sudden within the year?
That's a really good point. And so what I've been told is, and like the way Rob introduced me and spending, I think, 8 days in Philly leading into the draft and through the draft, anybody I talked to in the building that would I was like living in that hut when nobody else was there. I was just upstairs alone for hours on end. So people would come in and maybe they felt bad for me in the organization and say hello because I'm there from like morning to night. But like everybody I talked to was like, it's just a no-brainer. Like people not even like in the football meat of it with the organization are like, this guy's a head coach. Like it's the way he carries himself, the way he connects with people, the energy he brings, kind of the forward-thinking vibe that he has. It's almost like, and I don't want to say they couldn't explain it. They did explain it pretty well, but it's just a no-brainer to everybody I talked to in the building was like, yeah, like as how he put it, like we're renting him. Like they all believe that this guy is somebody that is a future head coach. And I know because he did interview in Denver and Houston, 2 places I know pretty well.
Right.
He interviewed really, really well. And he came across really well in his interviews. I think the job he did with the defense, and that's why I mentioned it, because I'm excited to see what happens this year. This was a group in the beginning of the year. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, like I think Fletcher was even coming out kind of being like, I don't know, man. Guys are kind of, and then he kind of just stuck with it. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a boring scheme to watch and the way they play in that passive style. But if it works, it works. And I know the schedule was easier in the second half for sure. But they definitely got better. And everybody just loves, I don't know, they just love his vibe. It's I haven't spent a whole ton of time with him. I'm excited to hopefully this season, and like I mentioned during camp, but he is no doubt one of the top names that's going to be out there in this hiring season.
Wow.
Yeah, I love how they drafted too, man. You know, when you look at it, everybody that they brought in as far as free agent draft fits that 3 down, either 30 or 50 front. You know, I mean, for them to go out and get, you know, Hassan Reddick, but then go out and get Kyron Johnson from KU, who's essentially Hassan Reddick just getting to the league. You know, this guy can rush the pass. He played a down lineman at times, also played linebacker at times. He fits that scheme perfectly. Now you have a nose right over the top of the center in Davis. You know, I think it's going to be more so a 30 front or a 50 front as opposed to 4 down again. And you have athletes like BG, guys like that who rush past from the outside. How is he going to incorporate those guys in the system?
I've been told he's gonna mix it up a lot. Like, you're gonna see different fronts. You're gonna see times where it's gonna be Hargraves, Fletcher, and Jordan Davis all on the field at the same time. Like, there's gonna be different things they're gonna play around with. And I think kind of I want to mention the point that you made with that, like, you know, you got a Hassan Reddick coming into the league. I think all the teams I go to and see all these guys come into the league, and so many of them are talented, I think the situation you fall into is so important for your NFL career. You look at Jordan Davis falling into an environment where he has Hargraves and Cox to sit there and learn from. You look at Cam Jurgens to sit there and learn from Kelsey. Like, I think the Eagles did a great job, not just finding, like, you know, what worked for what they want to do and in the draft and the players that they brought in, but so much of it is the environment that you fall into, right? Like, Brad, think at the beginning of your career, like, who's there for me to get me through these first couple of years, teach me how to be a pro, teach me how to be that guy. It's so funny when certain guys that you think are going to have great success in this league and come into an environment that doesn't have that, they'll either struggle quickly or you don't see the player that we all thought they were going to be. Like, I think that's a really big part if you look at the way the Eagles drafted. And I think that's being overlooked a little bit for the situation that some of these guys are coming in.
Not the offensive line, because you see that offensive line in Philly that they keep running them through. Stoutland has those guys because they have people there.
Yeah, and he's one of the best coaches in the league, man. He really is.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't think he wants to be a head coach, so let's hope it stays that way. Or a coordinator.
It's like Bill Belichick being like, Dante Starnicchia, just stay here forever, please.
Right.
Like, and that's what happened. Yeah,
very good comp. James is also a perfect guy to talk to because he's got the, you know, one eye on the national scene, but he's a Philly guy, so he knows what's going on with the Eagles. What's your sense here, James, in general? We're looking at free agents, draft, and all that, kind of where they are right now. When you're looking at the NFC East, we know the Cowboys won 12 games last year. I think Washington a lot is contingent upon what you get out of Carson Wentz, and there's always a lot going on around Washington. And then there's the Giants kind of rebuilding this thing with Dable. What's your sense of the NFC East?
Yeah, we'll just mention the Giants first. This is a rebuild. I think the world of Brian Dable. I like Mike Kafka a lot. I think he's been waiting for his turn. He'd been kind of blocked in Kansas City for a while. It's interesting to see what they're going to do with Daniel Jones. But that's not a contender for the NFC East by any means. I think this is the most talent Carson Wentz has probably had around him in a long time. I mean, if you look at what Washington has, and I love Terry McLaurin. If you use Curtis Samuel properly, like you saw a little bit in Carolina, he's like a Swiss Army knife. That's pretty difficult to cover. And then like J.D. McKissick, and you have like 3 backs that you can give the football to. Like, they got pieces around him, I think, and that's why I think this might be like the last chance for Carson, because this is a decent group of skill guys that are around him. I think Washington's going to be pretty decent. I think the Eagles are the best team in the division, mainly because with Dallas obviously is their number one competition. I don't know how you lose Amari Cooper and get better. Like, I'm not sure how that makes your team better. Everybody's saying, like, you know, CeeDee Lamb's going to step up into that role, and maybe he will, but I just think Amari's a really good player to lose. I think the offensive line's got health questions, depth questions. I think that's a spot where the Eagles are hands down, you know, the best team in the division in terms of their offensive line. I think the Eagles should win the division. And when you look at the NFC, I mean, like, I think Green Bay is obviously up there. Tampa's up there. I think New Orleans, if Jameis plays well, is going to be a really good team. I mean, you have You have really good pass catchers around him with one of the better defenses in football, with Tyrann Mathieu then joining that group, with Demario Davis, who I think is so underrated, entire that defense. So I think you could put him in that group that if Jalen, and we can break his offseason down, if he takes a big step, this is one of the better teams on paper right now. And if Jalen takes a step, could be during the season one of the better teams in the NFC.
Yeah, the interesting thing about New Orleans, I'll get back to the Eagles in a second, but is they kept the continuity too with Dennis Allen there.
Yeah.
I know it's a big difference with Sean Payton not being there. I get it. They're like Washington in a sense that they are really talented, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could say it's about every team. If the quarterback steps up, they're going to be tough. It's weird. The NFC's got a lot of good teams, but I don't know. It feels like the dominance is on the other side in the AFC. Like it's doable. This conference is very doable in general, but. We've talked a lot about Jalen Hurts, and Gunner caused a little firestorm last week that we've been talking about quite a bit. He's a troublemaker. You know that, James.
Yeah, he's like Woody Woodpecker. He's an instigator.
He is an instigator. He's like Woody Woodpecker. I'm going to use that. What's your vibe here? Just what your eyeballs are telling you, what you're hearing, as with him going into this season.
I'll be honest, Rob, it's changed in my perspective. I did Jalen's pro day at Oklahoma, and I was there, and there were plenty of NFL people that attended that pro day that were like, I mean, not wowed at the pro day by any means. And there were plenty of guys I talked to that were like, quarterback evaluators that I trust in the league were like, I don't see it. I don't see it. The people in the Eagles building, I don't know if they're blinded by the way Jalen carries himself or they're genuinely seeing it, but I'd like your guys' opinion. I think they wholeheartedly believe he has the ability to be the guy. Whether they're just telling us that, but I think they do believe that. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. One, his work ethic is ridiculous. And the way he carries himself is remarkable as a leader. Lane Johnson was on with us on NFL Network last week, just raving about the way Jalen carries himself. And all that stuff is true. And I talked to plenty of people at Oklahoma that were feeling the same way. I think they look at the strides he made from the beginning of the season to the end of the season going, if he works like this and he has growth like this again, this is something that we may really have here. And mainly because also, like, he's never had the same guy calling plays in the same offense since high school and back-to-back years. So, like, you look at guys that have had that continuity. I don't know if we see the same Josh Allen right now if he didn't have Brian Daboll right there with him throughout his entire career. I remember, it was right up the road, and John Elway didn't even attend his pro day. The Broncos sent one person to Wyoming. It's a drive for them.
Is that right?
They had to fly. Broncos sent the area scout to Josh Allen's pro day. That's it. The guy who's there with him and already knows him. Which is funny.
With all the quarterback issues they've had, they
were picking 5.
That's crazy.
They were picking 5 at that year.
I didn't know that.
They didn't even go. And so my point is, like, if you have, ability, and Jalen definitely has ability, and you get put in a situation that breeds for success, and you have the work ethic, because Brandon Beans told me a number of times, listen, it was the situation, it was Brian, but it was mostly Josh that put in the work to get to where he's at. And Jalen has that. Everything I've been told this offseason is the accuracy has taken a step forward with the improved footwork, the improved release that he's been doing this offseason that he's been working on in California. And I just think the two things that everybody's curious about are the accuracy and the decision-making. We know he can create. We know he has arm strength. I think the decision-making is something that if you listen to him talk, Nick Sirianni seems a little bit patient with. Like, he thinks it will come in time. He's a big proponent of the more you see it, the more you're in it, the better your decision-making is going to get. There is that thought, and there is plenty of people in the league that are like, either you can kind of do it or you can't. You either process quickly or you don't process quickly. You can speed it up a little bit. But I think they really think a lot of Jalen Hurts, and I think the A.J. Brown move with a great offensive line, I think his 3 pass catchers could be in the top half of – I mean, like, let's go through it. Like I look at the Raiders and go, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and Devontae Adams. That's just
nasty.
Right, as your 3 pass catchers. You look at A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams in his second year, who almost had 1,000 yards his rookie season, and Dallas Goedert, who, if you talk to the right people, they'll be like, he's one of the best tight ends in football. Nobody has noticed. And Zach had a big thing to do with that, obviously, in the first part. That's a really good group of 3 to have that play the position differently, too, which everybody talks about. You have this basketball team at the receiver position. That's a phase that's thrown around a lot. Those guys are all built differently. They can impact the defense at different levels. I think he's set up to succeed. And I think Howie's done a really great job of going, we're going to find out this year if he's the guy or not. Because if he's the guy, great. If he's not, we didn't give up our first-round picks next year either.
Yep.
You like Steichen, though? I mean, Steichen took over, play calling duties. They say halfway through the season, and halfway just happened to be the time when they start running the ball and start personalizing the offense around the people he has inside the offensive meeting rooms. Do you think Steichen takes a step forward also?
I think you always take a step forward, Bear, when you know your quarterback. And I think they got a chance to know their quarterback. Like if you look at the first half of the year when they were throwing a little bit more, a lot more, he was like towards the bottom of the league and everything. I think it makes him a better passer once they figured out how to run the football and focus on the run. And then I think they had a better understanding of how Jalen works. And then I think that always makes your offense better. That's why we're always talking about the continuity factor. And the more years you're in the same system, more years the same play caller, obviously you know the system really well, but they know what makes you work really, really well. And it seems like they found that out. It's a small sample size, but I feel like they found that out a little bit. And I think we're going to find that out probably in the early portion of this year, whether they're growing on that or they didn't find exactly what they were looking at.
This Eagles organization, this Eagles organization is doing exactly what you're supposed to do when it comes to a quarterback that entails a lot of question marks around it. They're rallying around him, and rightfully so. They're giving him every opportunity to succeed. They've improved the product around him in general. But the word if, which is a very simple word, can sometimes be the biggest word in a dictionary. And there's a lot of ifs surrounding Jalen Hurts right now. We've seen a small sample of what he can and cannot do, or what we think he can and cannot do. Now the stage is on him. He is prime and center at the forefront of the stage for this organization in 2022. We've talked about it. You just mentioned it. For 24 years of age, he handles himself well beyond his years in terms of poise, calmness. He's like a consummate poker player. You don't know really what he's thinking. You can't get under his skin. He's put in the work, and he will continue to put in the work. Now we will find out, not in training camp, not in preseason games, but when the bullets fly for real, if all of this effort pays off. That's the only true test, the true measuring stick we're going to have is when the bullets start flying for real. When everybody starts playing games against him defensively, if he's got that it factor. So we can sit here and speculate all we want. I've done it. We all do it. We can speculate the pros and cons all we want. But we're not going to find out until we get a full 17-game sample in 2022.
For sure. I totally agree with you. And that's why the Eagles are in – I was at a family function yesterday, and I was talking to my mother-in-law about it, going like, it's such a difficult world if you don't have one of those 10 best quarterbacks. ESPN came out with it today. If you don't have one of those 10 top quarterbacks, it's actually a tougher sled if you're in the middle of the pack than if you're at the bottom. Because if you're at the bottom, you need a new quarterback. If you're in that, if you're Cincinnati and you have Andy Dalton for all those years, you're like, well, Andy's good. But, like, I know he's probably not going to win as the Super Bowl. But if we get rid of him, I don't know who we're going to get that we know is better. And that's such a tough spot to be in, because I do think for his whole career, however it goes, Jalen is going to be considered as a guy, whether in his future he is a superstar, and that's possible, a franchise quarterback, or a backup. Like, there's always going to be the thought that Jalen Hurts can win me some football games. And I think that's always going to be the case. Even if his career goes sideways and he's a backup, like, I think he's going to be a valuable player to have on your roster because he's going to win you 5 games if your starter's out. And so it's kind of a weird spot to be in if you're the Eagles. Like, he's always going to give you a chance to win. Like, he'll break down, he'll run. And, I mean, I looked at a stat that we were given. There were 3 quarterbacks last year that had 40 or more completions over 20 yards and 20 runs of 10 or more yards. It was Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts. Like, that's it. He'll find ways to be successful, is my point. But is he that guy? Like, that's going to be a really tough evaluation, because in this conversation I was having with my mother, I was like, nobody is patient, specifically in the NFL.
By the way, I love that your mother-in-law is what's like.
Dude, she's the biggest football fan.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, monster football fan. She's breaking all the. She was like grilling me that if they didn't fire Vic Fangio in Denver, would they have been able to get Russell Wilson?
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Okay,
Mama
interesting.
Hot.
Yeah.
And so like that's the point of it. Like he's gonna win you games. Can you be patient enough that if that spot is there? Like we've kind of talked about Josh Allen a lot in this. Like I remember Brandon Beane telling me like nobody in America is patient, nobody in the NFL is patient.
Right.
Coolers were extremely patient with us and Josh and letting this thing grow. And look what's happened. I mean, right now, if you go to Vegas, he's the odds-on favorite to win the MVP when he completed like 50% of his passes his rookie year. Like, do you do that with Jalen if you see it? You got to see it, though. And that's not my job, thankfully, because Howie has to make that decision on whether they do see it happening each year. If they see a big step this year, I would stick with them, wouldn't you? Like, I mean,
absolutely.
And you're sitting there with 2 first-round picks you could use on other areas to help yourself.
Absolutely.
That $40 million price tag sitting right there, James. When you got that $40 million that's just right there, you can't make all the moves that they just made. They made all the moves because they have a rookie a rookie contract that they're working with. So
yeah, you look at what they built around Russ. Like, what was in Seattle around Russell Wilson on that rookie
Legion
deal?
of Boom. Yep.
And there were I think there's similarities by the way they play. If you look at the early portion of Russ's career, like he would take off for those 10 yards and get out of bounds and always be dangerous with his legs. And they both throw a pretty good deep ball. Actually, I think Russ's deep ball is ridiculous, but they both throw a good deep ball. And if you got a great group around them with that salary, you can make some moves. And then they've started doing that. And if this turns out to be, legit, they're gonna be a scary team.
Hey James, on a national platform, how do you think this Deshaun Watson fiasco plays out?
Yeah, good word, Gunnar. Fiasco is right. It's today is the 11th. Today is the earliest we may hear. I don't think it's going to happen today, but we may hear what Sue Robinson thinks. Here's the deal: as long as it's not no punishment, which none of us are assuming he's going to get nothing, both parties can appeal. So
you're almost in camp. We're in camp in a week plus.
Exactly. And so, I mean, keep your eye. They've talked to the Niners. The Browns have talked to the 49ers about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Whoa.
If it's a full year suspension, maybe those conversations go further because they like the idea of Jacoby Brissett on like a 10-game or under suspension. And I'd say 2 months ago in league circles, it was probably a 10-game suspension. We know that the league is pushing for a full year and then reevaluate. I find it interesting that a lot of stuff is leaked out. A thought would be that stuff is leaking out because the league is not happy with the direction that Sue Robinson is leaning. So we might as well get information out there that is like, we really want a full season suspension. If they were thinking she's going to go full year, why would anything come out? I find that a little bit interesting. But again, whatever the suspension is, both sides have the option to appeal and probably will, unless it's, there's no suspension by any means. It is probably the most fascinating thing we've seen in the NFL for some time. On the football field, he's incredible. Off the field, it has been one thing after another that has just made you really probably never look at him the same again.
Well said. Well said.
You're appealing to the same people, though, man. You're appealing to the same people to give it to you. That's the only thing I've that I've done. It doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly, Barry. And that's the point. Like, that's a really good thing to bring up because, like, this is the first major case we're hearing in the new CBA where an independent evaluator or moderator or however you want to say it is making the call, right? It was Roger Goodell making the calls on these previous things like, Deflategate and things like that. Well, what are we showing, as a league, if all of a sudden we've switched to this? This is something the NFLPA has agreed upon. This is something the league has agreed upon. She comes up with what she believes is the proper punishment. And then the NFL goes, well, we're going to appeal that. We don't like that. Let's just try to get it back to where we wanted it. Well, it's like, well, then why'd you set this up in the first
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I think that's why it's a really, really, for the context of it, obviously all eyes are on it, but also for future cases in the league, there's a lot of eyes on it too, on how the league's going to handle things off the field with conduct that's inappropriate to what the league standard is, or however they stated in the CBA.
James, before we get you out of here, I got to ask you. I know you're a big Sixers fan.
Mm-hmm.
Harden taking less money. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if we talked about it last time I was on here. I hope you guys know how I feel about James Harden. I don't think there's anything left in the tank. I didn't like him when I was in Houston. I don't like his style of basketball. I was lied to in the first couple of weeks he arrived at the Sixers as his distributor.
How do you really feel?
So I mean, I did not watch any more of the playoffs after the Sixers were eliminated. I was devastated.
Wow.
I don't know. It was like I'm trying to compare because it's happened in other sports where it's like a desperate reach and then you get the guy and you go, ugh. I was like when Chris Webber came. Remember?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Iverson finally has some help, and then we're like, oh, we got a shell of Chris Webber.
Yeah.
And you can line up like 5 of the guys that try to put with AI.
Oh, there was Matt Harpering. I mean, we could go on and on and on, man.
Forever.
It was bad. Yeah,
forever.
Bad.
So yeah, I mean, like, listen, we need better pieces. Obviously, Matisse didn't. I thought he was going to take a step this year.
Yeah.
From what I saw what I saw last year, I didn't really
stepped
see
the wrong way, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
No, you keeping it real. You're not.
Yeah,
I'm
keeping it real. I'm keeping it really upset. Is what I'm keeping it. Yeah.
All right, James. So so not this week, but next, right? We'll catch you hosting
Good Morning
Football. Okay.
Yeah, and we just announced our new permanent host today of Good Morning Football, replacing Kay Adams, Jamie Erdahl,
right?
Yeah,
Jamie Erdahl.
Just announced today.
Where's Kane going?
We can talk afterwards, Gunner.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Okay. Yeah, he knows.
He knows.
Left,
yeah. Check out James on Twitter at James Palmer TV. Of course, the NFL Network, and then coming up a week from today on Good Morning Football, which is a phenomenal show. Love that show. So looking forward to it. James, we appreciate it, man. It's always fun talking.
Always.
Yeah, guys, love it. And I'll be on all week. Garofolo is going to be on with me too. So they got 2 Philly guys that are like going to have to hold back their Phillies talk. I like it on that show.
I like it. And James, listen, man, all the best. Thanks for taking
you guys too, man. Love chatting with you.
All right,
Thank you, man.
care.
Good.
It's James Palmer, James Philly guy. You know, his dad Scott was with Channel 6 forever, and then of course he does an unbelievable job with the Phillies as well. James, an all-around good dude, man. All right, let's get a quick timeout, guys. We'll get caught back up. We're gonna keep rolling with the Eagles and discuss the really tricky parts of their schedule. There's 2 stretches in particular that are really challenging for this schedule, which we'll dive into when we get back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I am thrilled to let you know about a new sponsor to the program, and that is Razor Technology. Now, here's the deal. You know this. In the middle of an emergency, it is not the right time. In fact, it's the wrong time to wonder who is in charge and how to respond. Restoring malfunctioning systems, rebooting complex servers, reconfiguring applications, bringing back up online, and reauthorizing users all takes a lot of time. And the longer it takes, the more damage that a business can be exposed to. Razor Technology helps growing businesses develop a disaster recovery plan that protects all their essential data. Razor ensures all your critical systems are backed up and that backups are regularly checked to ensure that they can be deployed at a moment's notice. Depend on Razor Technology, your trusted IT managed service provider, to save time and money on your IT and cloud services. Find out if your business is built to recover from a data disaster by calling Razor Technology today, 866-797-3282. That's 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That is razor-tech.com.
Go for the poles and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the poles and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Sports Take on this Monday. JAKIB Sports YouTube Network hanging. Good to see everybody. Hit that like button, folks. We appreciate it. Appreciate everybody streaming, everybody listening, everybody in the comment section. You guys are the best. We do appreciate it. All right, so we were digging into the Eagles' schedule. We didn't really get a chance to get to this last week, but just kind of staying on the Eagles theme here, guys. I think there's two stretches that are really challenging, and you guys tell me if you disagree here when it comes to the 2022 season, which I think overall generally is a pretty favorable schedule, to say the least. But I think there's two stretches. One is weeks 5 through 8, and the other is 10 through 13. So let me walk you through 5 through 8. They go to Arizona on week 5. Then they have Dallas at home. It's a Sunday night game, week 6. They're off week 7, which is nice. You know, you get the bye week. And then it's Pittsburgh here, who, while they may not be a great team and there's questions about the quarterback, you know just how tough they are defensively and what kind of physical price that you pay. So that's one. Then you fast forward here to the other part that I think is pretty challenging here. And that's weeks 10 through 13. So they're home for Washington, at Indy, then they take on Green Bay, then Tennessee. That's two tough stretches there. You guys, let's start with the first one here, where it's Arizona, Dallas, and Pittsburgh in terms of difficulty and you know, landmines you got to sort of avoid.
I look at it, and you're supposed to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And if they've taken a step in the right direction, there are a couple of teams, you know, that list that they should beat. And Dallas is one of them. They should beat Dallas. It's a night game.
Especially at home. Especially
Exactly.
at home. Yep.
And it's a night game. And, you know, if there's any game that this Eagles team need to go into, it's this game with all right, we're the better team. We need to beat Dallas. We need everybody to be looking at us beat Dallas, establishing our dominance, not just in the division, but in the conference. You know, the Eagles should be a team the teams should be looking at like, all right, these guys are pretty good. And I think this will be one of the things to put them in a position where, all right, they are a team that needs to be looked at and you know, in so many instances feared by beating a Dallas that they're, you know, supposed to be even as far as, you know, contenders for the division.
And look, it's been a long time, right? I mean, it feels like Dallas has dominated them for a while here. You know, in some really ugly ways too. And if you want to start to reestablish who you are, you know, the first step there is winning at home. I think The last game's going to be really, really tough, Barrett, when they face them later in the year.
Yep.
It's in the stretch of 3 straight road games, which we'll get into that stretch too. But they close out the Christmas Eve at Dallas after being at New York, at Chicago, and then at Dallas. But Derek, go ahead.
All 3 games are winnable. The one thing that worries me is that Arizona is a first half team.
Yep.
They play like a Super Bowl contender the first half of the season, but they're going to play it without DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Will Kyler Murray get his money by then? If not, how much of that will affect him on the football field? Okay. Dallas is going to be an interesting game, but the good thing is that game is in here. It's here in Philadelphia. I look at Pittsburgh, and Mitchell Trubisky does not scare me one iota, coming into Philadelphia, quarterbacking that Pittsburgh team. Now, Eagles offense are going to know they've been in a game because a Mike Tomlin defense is going to be ready to play, but a Mike Tomlin defense is not going to be putting the points on the board as that Pittsburgh offense. I don't know if the Pittsburgh offense, as we look at it right now, can put enough points on the board to come in here and beat this Eagles team with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback,
or
if that
Kenny
is
Pickett.
the case, or Kenny Pickett, if that is the case. So those are winnable games, and plus you get to catch your breath after the Arizona-Dallas games before you take on Pittsburgh anyway. So those are winnable games. I don't know if they're going to win all 3, obviously, but I think they can win 2 out of 3 of those games.
Yeah, look, to me, if I look at that first stretch, and we'll tackle the other 2 in a second, I think going to Arizona, even without Hopkins, is going to be a challenge for a couple reasons you laid out. A, they're a pretty good team. B, they are generally better early.
Right.
I think you absolutely should win at home against Dallas in that spot. That's going to be, by that point, it's week 6. We're going to start to have an idea of what these teams look like, right? At that point,
right.
a much better idea of identities and whatnot.
Right.
So if you want to be, considered legit in the division, in the conference, that's a game you got to win. Then you get the advantage of having an off week too, going into the game against Pittsburgh, which is also a home game. So you're playing Sunday night home, don't have to go anywhere, can just chill, still home for that other game. To me, if you don't take 2 out of 3, they're not who we thought they were going to be.
Exactly. You're right. You're right.
In that stretch.
Well,
that's it. Yeah, go ahead, Barry.
No, I mean, you can go ahead and finish. I was going to just.
No, I'm done on that. I was going to dive into the other one, but go ahead if you want to.
Looking at Arizona, without Hop there, they're of course they're going to play. The offensive side of the ball is not going to be well, but it's Zach Ertz want to play against his old team. They're going to want to establish the run with Connor, but their defense is pretty good.
Their defense is good. Yeah, right. It's underrated.
JJ Watt, presumably he'll be healthy. Mm-hmm. Marcus Golden can rush the passer. Isaiah Simmons is that jack of all trades. He can play safety. He can play linebacker. He can rush the passer. They can use him to blitz.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be one of the tougher games. Buda Baker on the at safety. This will be the biggest challenge they have as far as an offense. That we're going to see. It'll be an accurate barometer on where they are offensively, especially for the quarterback.
No, it's a really good point. And a challenge to go East Coast to West Coast or whatever. I mean, there's definitely a lot to be said about that game for sure. And they did lose Chandler Jones, which is a big loss.
And Jordan Hicks, of course.
And Jordan Hicks, so they lost some pieces. All right, so let's go to that next stretch then. The stretch, and this goes essentially week 10 up until week 13. So you go Washington home, at the Colts, Green Bay home, Tennessee home. Again, if you want to establish yourself in the division, you win divisional home games. Carson Wentz coming back here. There's going to be a lot of interesting storylines. It'll be the second time they played Carson Wentz by then because the Eagles also played him in week 3. So Wentz coming here. Then you go to Frank Reich. Then you got Rodgers, who notoriously shreds the Eagles throughout his career, certainly of late. And then it's Tennessee, which is never easy. Look, not, a team that won 12 games last year that never gets talked about. So, Gunner, that stretch is really challenging, man.
I look at that matchup against Washington, and that's going to be a big one against Washington. Again, I'm glad it's in Philadelphia and not Washington. Of course, just a rematch because they do go to Washington the third game of the season. Who is Carson Wentz? Who is the 2022 version of Carson Wentz? Antonio Gibson, their running game took a big hit last year because Antonio Gibson went down with an injury. if you keep him and J.D. McKissick healthy, that's a great 1-2 punch. I think it's one of the more underrated 1-2 punches in all of pro football because you have the power back who can also break it off, and you got the little scat back in McKissick as well, who can flat out fly in open space. And then you got those 3 wide receivers now going up against the Eagles secondary. Dawson would have a few games under his belt, by then. So, and that defense, the Eagles defense, the Washington Commanders defense, that could be one of those close games. They always play rugged games, and that could be one of those real rugged games. I can't wait to see the Colts running game with Jonathan Taylor against this Eagles defensive front as well. That's going to be a huge matchup, because Jonathan Taylor is going to get his carries. And will they deviate from that now that you have Matt Ryan quarterback in your team? It's going to be interesting to see.
And there's some in-house knowledge with, with all the former Eagles coaches now who are formerly Colts. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Green Bay, I wish they were getting Green Bay much earlier in the season because by the time they get to Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers and this new revamped receiving core will have it all figured out by them. And you're right, Rob. Eagles have beaten Green Bay, but Aaron Rodgers puts up great numbers against an Eagles defense. And now that he's got a bunch of young, hungry kids and Randall Cobb in there, and that running game they have as well, that's going to be a huge game. Can the Eagles defense control Aaron Rodgers? And Ryan Tannehill, I'm not worried about Ryan Tannehill, especially now that A.J. Brown is in an Eagles uniform. And that's going to be a huge – I don't care what A.J. tells you. It's not just another game. There were some sore spots there because he said he wanted to stay in Tennessee. They didn't want to pay him the money, so he went elsewhere. So that's going to be a sore spot. He's going to want to put on a show against his former team in that game. At the very minimum, the Eagles have to come out 2-2 in those games. Very minimum.
Yeah, I would concur with that. I mean, I look at it, and I think you should win at Washington. You should win at home against Tennessee, or win at home against Washington. You should win at home against Tennessee. Green Bay, I can't say I have confidence in that game, and I can't say I have confidence in the Colts game. I think it is a 2-2, and if that's what it is, okay, that's fine. Because then you're going to get the Giants, even though it's there, the Bears, even though it's there. But this does present a challenge here, guys, because it's 3 straight road games. Now, granted, one of them is New York, which is not a terrible travel situation, but you're at New York, at Chicago, at Dallas. Then you get New Orleans after that. So really, I mean, that 4-game stretch, although you do have the Bears and the Giants, who I don't think are going to be good, it's still 3 straight on the road and then home to New Orleans. That's not an easy one either.
Yeah, you got a couple of good tune-ups against the Giants and the Bears, because I think they're going to be bottom feeders the whole season. Obviously at some point, they're going to play better football, but I still think they're going to lose way more games than they win. That's a great tune-up for that rematch against the Cowboys. And that game against the Cowboys could be for the division title at that point. Even with 2 games left in the season after that, that game could be for the division title. And, of course, New Orleans is one of those teams I'm really looking forward to watching to see what kind of teams New Orleans has if Jameis Winston stays healthy with that team, because they are very talented across the board in so many other areas. Are they a legit threat to Tampa Bay's reign in the NFC South, or are they just a good team that's playing second fiddle to Tampa Bay? So it's going to be interesting to see. So they've got some interesting games, but the thing I like about the Eagles' schedule, we talk about the tough games that they have, but those games are surrounded by a couple of games we expect them to win. Now, Jacksonville, we didn't talk about Jacksonville. I expect Jacksonville to be an interesting game because Trevor Lawrence is in his second year. Doug Peterson is coaching that team now. He's good with young quarterbacks. And Jacksonville spent a lot of money in free agency to make that team better.
Yeah, and I don't know how much this plays into it ultimately once the game gets started, but that's a game that means a lot to Doug Peterson. As much as he's taken the high road and all that, he didn't like the way things played out, man. He didn't like being paraded out there for that press conference and then getting canned after that.
Right.
He's going to have these guys ready to go. I don't care what anybody says in that game. Even though they may not have the talent, they're going to be rolling that Jacksonville team.
Absolutely.
Well, I said before that we're probably going to split against the Commanders. I think that third game, I kind of said that they were going to – no, I did say that they were going to lose that game in Washington. But I think they come back and they probably establish themselves as one of the better teams, and they're playing them again, and they're going to beat up on them pretty bad. Eagles against the Colts is going to be a good game. They're going to be in Indianapolis, and this will be one of those games where, you know, you got two great offensive lines playing against these defenses,
right?
And the better defense, you know, is good. Probably, you know, usually going to win this game. Of course, you know, the Colts defense is a little better, so it's going to be hard for me to say and root against the Colts as far as win this game. And they got stability at the quarterback position. They already know they can run the rock.
Yep.
So, you know, it's going to be a tough game to go into Indianapolis and beat them. Then they have the Packers at home.
Right.
I really think that they beat the Packers. I think A-Rod is in a position where he's, like you said, he's throwing to younger wide receivers.
Yeah.
That offensive line, you know, it's been pretty good, but I think they're starting to now, you know, A-Rod might be becoming human again. You know what I'm saying? He might be brought down to earth because he doesn't have that great receiver that he had before. He's trying to make guys great at this point. So I think they sneak up on him and they run the ball against that defense. If they can establish a run the ball consistently against that defense, they can beat the Packers. The Titans, you know, this will be really the biggest stance. Let's see what Davis is going to do. Can he stop the run? Can he be in the middle of that defense? You just allocate him in there. That way you don't have to play run blitzes.
Yeah,
and,
great point.
You know, and you know, do his thing on first and second down, so it could be third and long. You know, and I think our defensive secondary can handle Tannehill and this throwing the ball. You know, so the Giants will be a pushover this year. So I mean, then they'll go, but the Bears will be a pushover this year. But like you said, going into, you know, Christmas Eve, Dallas. At Dallas, this will be the game, man. It's probably going to, you know, be the division winner.
Yeah, that could be the division right there. There's
division winner right here.
Yep.
See, I'm not going to use the term lame duck when it comes to the Giants, because if you look at what happened last year against the Giants obviously were inferior to that Eagles team, and they played them tough both games. I think they have a better coaching staff this year. I'm not saying that equates to more wins, but I think they're going to be more unpredictable in terms of how they run their offensive stuff because of what we've seen of Dabo run the offense in Buffalo.
They were last year.
Yeah, they're horrible. So, you know, they've got a good group of receivers. Can Daniel Jones get them the ball? Can they keep Saquon Barkley healthy? If they can keep Barkley healthy, you know, because Barkley is not just – when Barkley is healthy, Barkley is not just an average running back. He is a back with power and speed. And like I told you guys last week, I had to laugh when Malcolm Jenkins told me, he said, I tried to square up in this guy. I couldn't even get my hand around his thighs. His legs were so big. So he's not going to go. So, you know, I think those are going to be competitive games. I don't think the Giants will beat them, but I don't think it's going to be a walkover against the Giants.
By the way, Gunnar, when they're drilling, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a drum roll. It sounds like drum roll, please.
Yeah. I told you,
it sounds like.
They're moving down the house. They're doing the shutters, the upper shutters. They're moving down the house. So what happened was I had to go outside during a break, and then one of the workers told me, he said, we got a slight problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, did you know that 6 of your shutters, the 6 shutters on the bottom are bigger than there's a total, so 8 shutters on the top. I said, what? Oh, so I bought 14 of the same size shutters. So after the show, I got to go back to Home Depot, take X amount of shutters back, and get the right shutters for them to put on the bottom. So they'll put those on tomorrow, which is not bad because you hear all that drilling noise from the bottom. But like I told you before the show's over, they're closer to my window now here in my bedroom. So you're gonna have to put up with this for a while. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Let me ask you guys, as far as I just piqued my curiosity when you're talking about the Packers. Rodgers at this point in his career isn't exactly a patient dude. Is not afraid to call a teammate out or, you know, whatever. If his young dudes are struggling, is this going to play well? I know he just got paid, but I don't see that. I don't know if I see patient mentor Aaron Rodgers coming out of this, especially in middle, you know, in a fourth quarter in a big spot or 12 games into the season.
No, the only guy he won't yell at is his boy Randall Cobb.
Yeah, he loves Cobb.
Yeah. The rest
Watkins also.
No, he'll get on Watkins because he wants to make him better. Mm-hmm. So he'll get on Watkins, you know. And basically, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm having a meeting with the receivers outside of Randall Cobb, and I'm telling them, even Alan Lazard, who had the nerve to talk about holding out of many training camp, they finally paid him. Didn't give a lot of money, but paid him decent money. I'm saying, you know what? You want to be the next Devontae Adams? catch the football. Go watch the film. Study the film. Look at what made Devontae Adams a $141 million receiver. No matter where the ball was, that dude very seldom dropped the ball. It could be down on his ankles. He's picking it up off his shoe top. So if you want to be the next Devontae Adams, when I come your way, number one, get separation. Number two, catch the ball. Because if not, I'm not coming back to you again. Plain and simple. These kids are hungry, man. These young kids they have now, they want to make a name for themselves. They want to get paid also because you don't know how long your career is going to be. Catch the football.
Well, Tristan Watkins, man. Christian Watkins.
Yeah, that kid.
Yeah, the North Dakota State kid.
Yes.
You're 6'5", running a 4.3 40.
Yes.
Jeez.
Every bit of 6'5" too. He's slim though, but
yeah,
man, returner also, man. You know, so I think I said I did the semis for the CF college football.
FBS. Yeah.
And he was.
Don't put him back on return. Do not put him back on return.
He was a weapon, man. He was a weapon.
I know, but see, when you got a long body like that, Barrett, that's more of a target space to hit.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at some of the better the return guys, they're like 6'1", 5'10". You know what? Low center of gravity, get behind those big blockers, and they can make their cuts like that. You don't want to put a tree, out there
to get chopped down.
Especially if he's slight of build. I want him trying to catch the ball and putting the ball in the end zone. I don't care about him returning punts.
He looks, and again, understand the level of competition, but that dude's got a lot of talent. Like there's a lot there, hands and wheels and size. But we'll see if he can do it at that level.
But historically, that's what they've done. They've taken receivers not in the first round, second through fifth or sixth round, and they turn them into Pro Bowlers. Yeah. Of course, it helps when you've got two quarterbacks, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, throwing you the football.
Great point.
It's a little different.
Yeah, like Donald Driver. Donald Driver came.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding?
Came from nowhere.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, a lot of dudes got paid.
Jordy Nelson got paid.
Yeah, Jordy Nelson. You're right.
Think about that. All these guys at Green
Bay.
He
did come from a great school, though.
That's how you. That's right. How dare you, Derek?
Where'd he come from? Missouri.
Oh,
that's blasphemy.
That's low, dude. That's low.
What is that all about?
You had to go Missouri? Like really?
Right, Mizzou of all places.
Okay.
I mean, the only worst would have been Kansas, right? Yeah. I mean, that would be the only worst.
Right.
Okay, Barrett. He came from that football school, K-State.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Darren Sproles, man. Barrett Brooks, Darren Sproles, right. Jordy Nelson.
Right.
Come on.
Better believe it.
Remember Howard from there. Howard was from there.
Oh,
Semino was from there.
Semino.
That's right. That's right. Great point.
Don't say Mark Semino too loud in Philadelphia. A lot of people weren't happy with.
Yeah,
Mark
that's
Semino.
a name that doesn't go.
Yeah, you don't want to mention Mark Semino's name in Philadelphia.
Did you play with him? Was he younger? Was he?
I played with his brother.
Okay.
His brother was a nose guard, but his brother played when he was in junior college. He played fullback. He was a 300-pound fullback.
Oh.
Ran like a 4.40.
Really?
He moved into nose guard. Yeah.
Oh man.
Black belt of karate and everything. He just didn't love football. That's all.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So when we come back, I'm going to pose the question to you guys and our audience, and feel free, everybody in the chat room, to jump in. People listening, streaming as well. If there's a player on your team that's a bad apple, do you stop rooting for your team because they brought in a bad apple, or do you just not root for that guy to have success and you continue to root for your team? We'll get into the reason I bring it up when we get back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
I was the mommy slam dunk champion.
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, welcome back. Rob Ellis, Derek Guy, and Barrett Brooks. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. How's the drilling going, Gunner? Everything all right? Nobody coming in?
There is a ladder right at my window right now, so get ready. They're right. I mean, like right across from me right now.
Okay.
I can see the top of the ladder.
Good. We might have a co-host. Do we have somebody just jump in? You never know. All right. So we got word of this on Friday when we were actually on the air at that point. So, when you first get, sort of breaking news, it's hard to really consume and wrap your head around everything about a certain deal that there is. And we found out that the Flyers had traded for Tony DeAngelo, a defenseman who put up 51 points last year, had 41 assists, 10 goals. He's a guy who's got some talent. He's an offensive defenseman. Leaves a little bit to be desired on the other end. Will turn the puck over, and needs to be paired with a very good defenseman who's solid, who's kind of a stay-home guy. Now, that's the on-ice stuff when it comes to Tony DeAngelo. There's a lot of baggage with Tony DeAngelo. Tony DeAngelo has been suspended at the junior level for using racial epithets, homophobic speak, misogynistic things that he said. He's gotten into clashes with teammates. In fact, got into a fight with the goalie at the Rangers to the point where the Rangers waived him. Has put his hands on an official. Has had quite a sort of checkered past here. He's bounced around from a lot of organizations for a guy who's got some skill and is still young. He's moved around quite a bit, and it's not all necessarily because of his on-ice stuff. It's a lot of off-ice. Now, in fairness, had a year last year in Carolina where there weren't any issues. Claims that he's grown up a lot, went to counseling. And he says that this is stuff that was in the past that had a lot to do with being an immature person. Okay. So I'm just trying to give you both sides of this thing. But nonetheless, as you would expect, this is a move that's caused a lot of, a stir with Flyers fans. There are a lot that don't like him, that don't want him here, that don't, buy into the he's a new person kind of routine. Others saying, give somebody a second chance and all that. Nonetheless, and I'll look, speaking to you guys in particular, two people of color, what's your sense of this thing with Tony DeAngelo?
I just heard, it's just what I've heard. He's not somebody that I would sit around and have a beer with. If he was to say something crazy, I wouldn't mind smacking. But just from hearing the things that he said, and even just researching it, even looking at his family's post and everything else, they don't hide what they are. They don't care to hide what they are. They are what they are. So at this point, I really don't have anything to say about dude or if he's on the team, it's not somebody that I would cheer for. I'm not going to stop watching the Flyers, but he would definitely not be somebody that I would definitely, root for, and, last year, for the Hurricanes, Rob Brindamore told him, look, man, you mess up, you're out of here. You know what I mean? You're out of here.
Yeah, he's a no-nonsense guy, Brindamore. FYI.
Right. So, he's like, look, I'm trying to, help you resurrect your career, you either walk the straight and narrow, or not only will you not play for the Hurricanes, but he said, I can almost guarantee you would not play another game on NHL ice ever again. I'll pretty much have you blacklisted from it, and evidently he got the hang of it and got the hook, and we're like, all right, I'm not going to do it. And he had a pretty good season last year.
Yeah.
Will I like him as a person? Probably not, because I know he doesn't like me as a person. So, being a man of color. So, I mean, it's somebody that I would definitely not root for. And I won't tolerate him and his parents as being anything other than somebody that, would fly straight and narrow with me, because I would fly the straight and narrow with him.
I got
and
you.
it was not just him, it's his family also. I think his sister has stuff still on her page to this day, of things that are very off color and how they, how they talk.
Okay. Gunner?
For the Flyers to go out and get him, obviously they feel this is the type of player that they need to change the culture or to change the productivity on the ice. I don't want to say culture, because I hope they don't look at him as somebody to change the culture in that locker room. He's been given numerous chances. Now he's trying to back it up by saying, I'm absolutely not a racist at all. In America, you're free to say what you want to say and do what you want to do. That's our God-given right in this country. It doesn't mean I have to sit down and break bread with you. A lot of Flyer fans are irate because they felt over the past couple of seasons the organization has alienated this fan base, and they feel this is one step further in terms of alienating the fan base by bringing someone like him into this organization. So it's kind of similar in a small way to when the Eagles stepped out on that limb and brought Michael Vick in here, for the dogfighting stuff. There were a lot of people that were just downright furious that the Eagles organization would bring a Michael Vick in here. A lot of people said, I'm never going to an Eagles game again. I'm never buying their merchandise again. And so when I look at it on the surface in terms of tension, that's what I equate it to. Obviously, this is a much more serious, in a lot of ways, issue to discuss. He's in a market that's almost 50% African American. There is a solid hockey base in this city. There are people that are frustrated with this team that will still go to the games to root for their team. Maybe not an individual, but will root for their team. There are a lot of people that went to Eagles games and rooted for the Philadelphia Eagles, but didn't want to root for Michael Vick. And I see it along those lines. You and I, if what Barrett said, I have not seen the sister's Twitter account yet, but if what Barrett is saying is true, and I have no reason not to believe what Barrett is saying is true, you and I, we have nothing to discuss, and if I was your teammate, we don't have to talk on the ice. You go out and do your job, and if we pile up more wins than we're lost is good, then we go our separate ways. But don't think you're going to say any and everything you want to say in that locker room without consequences. So the Flyers really had to think about this long and hard before they made this decision. Obviously, they feel that he can help their team in certain areas, but there are repercussions that come with that, and we're going to see how this thing plays itself out.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's where I'm at with this. You better be right. You better have vetted this guy properly and know that he has changed his ways, number one. If not, you're talking about a team with a new coach that's trying to build a culture and do it the right way, where they've been just floundering for the last couple of years. He could potentially come in here and drop a bomb on this thing.
He could.
You know what I mean? So, number one, you better be right that he's
absolutely
changed gears here, okay, first of all. So that's very critical. But I'm not sure why you would want to alienate parts of your fan base that are still left. Like, there are a lot of people who have bailed because you've been so irrelevant, frankly, as an organization. It's a strange, to me, unnecessary move. Now, to the initial question that I posed you guys, there, and this is it's a very serious subject with the stuff we're talking about here. Okay. But would I still root for the organization? Yeah, I think I would still root for the organization, but I cannot root for that guy. Like, I'm sorry, I can't celebrate that guy when things go well for him. Would I like to see the team? Because I think there's just enough loyal fans who just want to see their team win, but I would still like to see the Flyers win. Yes, but I don't like this. Personally.
Yeah, but you being a Flyers fan and a hockey fan, will you watch the games? Would you go to the games if you had the opportunity?
I will still watch the games, and I am going to keep a close eye on this guy just to see what's going on here. If I'm being honest, I want to see how this plays out. But I don't think they should have done it. Okay, I don't. Well, I would,
especially with what's going on with the culture that's in the Flyers organization right now. Just like you said, the loyal fan base is not in a position where they're liking anything that the organization is doing. We just hired a new coach. We're trying to change the culture. You don't have a strong enough culture right now to really put you in a position where you can, where you can't have any room to deviate from anything other than getting better.
Yeah.
And when you have something that can become a distraction in an organization that people aren't tolerating anything, man, you might lose your fan base.
Yeah.
They're right at the cusp right now of really losing a lot of loyal Flyer fans. And I admit, I've never seen a fan base as loyal as this, and I've been a part of some great fan base. I've watched the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team, grew up around it. My pops was a Cardinals fan, and I see the loyalty that comes with a fan base like that. They've allowed people, like Mark McGrath, those guys, get away with everything because of how loyal they are. But I have yet to see anybody more loyal than this fan base as far as the Flyers.
Yeah.
They can almost walk on water, man, and they're starting to lose the fan base to that degree that they're just tired of losing. They're tired of the culture. They're tired of the way the organization is running things. They need something, to take them out of that, and them bringing somebody like that. I don't know. Is he that good? I don't know anything.
No, well, that's it, Barrett. That's the other thing. Like,
is he that good?
He's got some offensive talent. There's no arguing that, but he's also a guy who leaves a lot to be desired defensively. Like,
didn't we just let Ghost go for that?
Right, for nothing. Basically, you got nothing in return. And Ghost had a monster year with Phoenix, this past year. So there's that. Here's the other part. Tortorella is a combustible guy, man, as a coach. This dude has clashed with coaches before. That's got the potential to be even if you put everything else aside for a minute, like he doesn't always get along with his coaches when it comes to hockey things, not even the other stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? Winning cures all. The bottom line is winning cures all. And the people that say they won't do this and they won't do that, if the team starts winning, they'll be back. That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Totally agree with you.
You go back to the Eagles. All those people that talked about, I'm never watching or going to an Eagles game again. I would like to know the percentage of those people when they won that Super Bowl that were out there up and down the streets, waving their Eagles gear, wearing their Eagles gear, and celebrating like everybody else. Winning heals a lot of personal wounds that you have. That's what sports is all about. And if the Flyers somehow miraculously did a one-season turnaround, just like the Eagles when Andy Reid's last year, he was 4-12, and a lot of people were irate. Here comes this hotshot college coach, Chip Kelly, first year, 10-6, playoffs. All of a sudden, people are pumping their chest again about being an Eagles fan. I get it. That's the nature of sports. And the same thing, if somehow, some way, the Flyers miraculously turned it around in one season after the embarrassing season they just had, that fan base that Barrett is talking about is going to be solid as ever.
Yeah. No, I was doing the post-game show when the Eagles were playing the Patriots in a preseason game when it was announced that they were signing Michael Vick. It came down at halftime. You guys probably remember this very well.
Right.
And I can't tell you the amount of callers that I took that night from, I've been an Eagles fan for 30, 40 years. I'm done, this and that. And I took a lot of heat that night because I said, look, I'm not dismissing your stance on how you feel about Michael Vick. I get it. Okay. But I don't believe that you won't be an Eagles fan anymore. And a lot of them, I will. Okay. And we were 3 weeks into the season and I start getting calls from the same people who said they were never going to watch an Eagles game again, talking about the Eagles. So all I'm saying is there's an initial reaction sometimes to things, And then there's the reality of when the season starts and they're your team and they've been your team long before this guy got here, and you'll be your team long after this guy's gone. And that's where I can't fault a fan base. Like, I get that you don't like somebody who's been brought in for a number of different reasons, but I don't fault them for staying loyal to their team. They can not like everything. Look, you guys know to some degree it's like family. You love your siblings, you love your parents, you love your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your kids. They still do things that piss you off sometimes, right?
Yep,
right.
But
sure,
you're still going to be with your family. I know it's a little bit apples and oranges where I'm going with this, but I'm one who I understand people who stay loyal and say I just don't like that person, but they can kind of put it in a box, and leave it there.
Yeah.
Well, just working with Ray Didinger, he's an avid dog lover.
Dog love supporter.
He rescues dog, but he did not support anything about Vic. He would talk about Vic as far as the game, what happened in the game, how he approached the game, but it was straight and narrow. I mean, nothing other, no highlights, nothing other than
it was fact. This is what he did on the field. Yeah,
and I believe he distanced himself from the Maxwell Awards for a few seasons, if I'm not correct. One of the awards in the offseason.
He did.
But he went back to be honored this year.
And I will say this, Barrett, you're right on, and so are you, Derek. What Ray, I remember Ray did whatever was Michael Vick's last year. I don't remember the exact year.
Right.
When he left, he said, "Look, I have to say, I was 100% against this signing. Didn't like that he was an Eagle, but I will say this: he walked the walk. In terms of talking to kids and counseling and putting the message out there. So he did give him his props, out the door.
No question about it. And now we're going to wait and see what happens with this guy. Right now, he's taking a lot of bullets, and rightfully so, based on what we're finding out about his past. Now we're going to see what kind of stand-up guy he is, or if on the surface now he's defending himself. Let's see if he regresses back to what all these stories said he was, not being able to get along with teammates and putting stuff out on social media that he should think about before he puts out there. We're going to find out in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and also let me be clear. Like, if you're someone who says, "Look, I can't tolerate what this guy stands for. I'm out."
Yeah.
I get it. I'm not.
Exactly.
You every right to feel that way. I will say, I'm trying to be fair and balanced here. He went on John Clark's podcast and said, "Look, that's not who I am anymore, or whatever. That's not me now." Okay,
right.
So, but whatever. So, for whatever it's worth, that's what it was.
The reason that he ended up at the Hurricanes, he had said something about his goalie, who was of Russian descent.
Yeah, when he was at the Rangers, yes, they went at it. Like he ripped this guy's heritage, and they that was one of the things, and they went at it.
So another guy came to his defense, and he fought the other guy, and he started the fight. I mean, he got beat up, he got his ass whooped,
right? And
they still, the guy that whooped his ass didn't get cut, but he got cut. He said some stuff about being a feminist. He said some stuff about just everything.
There was racial, homophobic, and misogynistic stuff that caused him during his time to get suspended for various, episodes.
Yeah.
So, for what it's worth, just to give you an idea, he's drafted in the first round. He's a local kid too. Like you would want this to be a good story. Yeah, well, in South Jersey, but his family's all in South Philly. Like you would want this to be a good story for the Flyers. But anyway, so he's drafted in the first round by Tampa Bay, traded by them to Arizona, traded to the Rangers, waived by the Rangers, picked up by Carolina, now with the Flyers. So you're talking about a guy who was drafted in 2014, who's been with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different organizations. He's 26 years old. That's not a great track record, man. A lot of different teams for a young dude. Right. So, anyway.
I mean, this dude's been suspended in the juniors. He's alienated people in the NHL.
Yeah.
How many more chances do you get in life?
You're really putting your neck on the line here if you're the Flyers with this guy. So they better hope it works, man. They better hope it works. All right. Now, good news. Let's move on from that. We touched on this a little bit, but the James Harden thing is fascinating to me. I know we got into this Friday, but the fact that he could potentially be leaving $15 million on the table in this deal, and it's going to be a 2-year deal, man, I'm really surprised. You guys know where I stood with this. I am shocked that this is what this is going to be for him. And I give him props.
I think somehow, some way, somewhere, James Harden's going to get that money back somehow that we won't even know about.
Michael Rubin and the Fanatics give it a little.
It's going to be like under table hush money or something.
Or hey, look at the new endorsement deal James Harden signed with the Fanatics.
Exactly.
I think doesn't matter.
But who cares, right? That's good for the Sixers.
Yeah.
Sign every deal you want, man. I don't care.
It doesn't handcuff us like we thought we were going to be handcuffed.
Yeah,
correct.
Kudos for him for taking this move and opening up more space to help make this team better. James Harden is at a stage of in his career. He wants to win. He wants to win now, and he put himself in a position. He didn't like what was going on in Brooklyn. He's put himself in a position now with a group of guys. He thinks if we get a couple of pieces here and there, we can make some serious noise in the Eastern Conference and get all the way to the NBA Finals. So, for whatever it's worth, whatever his reasons are, his intentions are, he took a step back and took less to help make this team better, whether it's just because of his relationship with Daryl Morey, whether there's some deal cut that they're going to get him the money back somehow, some way, whether it be endorsements or whatever the case may be. He took that stance. A lot of times you only get one shot at it. You give up money, you only get one shot. You may never recoup that money. So, kudos to him for taking this approach to help this team, this organization, put a better product on the court.
Yeah. And I think too, this is where Daryl Morey deserves some props too, because, you had to think leading up to the trade or after he got here or whatever, this conversation was had. Like, hey man, this is what we're looking at in the offseason. This is what this is going to look like. And we need to be able to get some pieces here, whether that's PJ Tucker or whatever. You're going to have to give a little bit on your end.
Right.
And, that's probably not an easy conversation to have with somebody. And he had it. He had to. So both guys deserve some love.
Yeah, absolutely. The relationship obviously is one is deep rooted. And there's a mutual respect between the two. It goes a lot further than we may even know, because it's not many athletes in today's sports mediums that take less money for the overall good of something. Everybody, and like I said, I don't care who you are. Make as much as you can for as long as you can, while you can, because it doesn't last forever. God bless you, how much money you make. But obviously, there's this mutual admiration society between these two that brought them to this agreement to help get this team over the hump.
Yeah. And here we are. I will say this, that, the way there's a sense from some, the sort of insiders, whatever, they take it for what it's worth,
right,
that the Sixers aren't done. And what does that mean ultimately? Because they are pretty capped out right now. Maybe Tobias Harris is on the move. I don't know. I mean, look, Boston has had a very quiet, good offseason. Like, Boston just signed Danilo Gallinari, who can really still shoot it, who last with the Hawks, but he was a buyout guy. They got it for 2 years, like $13.3 million. And that's on the heels of making the Brogdon trade last week. Like, Boston's doing some things, man.
Yeah.
It's a team that was already in the championship last year. So you're going to have to keep getting yourself better. Barrett, you muted, but
looks like they're going to be number one in in the East right now, man.
I agree. They're the team to beat.
Yeah. So I mean, I know Milwaukee will get their they'll get their kudos, because they got the Greek Freak and everything else,
and they get Middleton back. Middleton's
back. Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, you're looking at a Celtics team that quietly put things together midway through the season.
Yeah.
They found a tandem that could play. Now, you add the pieces that they have right now. If you look at the 76ers are trying to compete, man, they want to do the same thing. So I don't think that they're done yet.
Mm-hmm.
Will I want to trade Tobias Harris? I mean, it had to be somebody that, I'm
not just dumping salary. I need somebody coming back.
That's
who can
what I need to say. I'm not just dumping salary. I need Tobias Harris in the lineup right now. You know, he became in the playoffs a pretty good wing defender. Could give you 17, 18 points a game. You're not just going to find that, you know what I'm saying, out in the street.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at this point, I need him on the squad unless you can get a big splash guy.
Yep, 100%. All right, let's step aside. We'll come back, guys. We'll dive into some of the things with the MLB All-Star Game, including Ohtani, who's going for 2 different spots. This guy is ridiculous. So we'll talk about him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Djokovic, who we discussed a little bit earlier, wins Wimbledon. We lost another great character actor that we will talk about as well when we get back. And there's a replacement on the Monday Night Countdown panel show. Randy Moss out. We'll tell you who's in. We have a couple of pretty good born on this days that we'll get into, and a little debate about a movie star. So we'll do all those things when we return. He's Barrett Brooks. He's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We will be right back.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama go up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
What up, everybody? Welcome back in. Final segment of the program. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. He is Barrett Brooks, along with D Gunn. Rob Ellis with you on this Monday. All right, so a couple things to hit here, guys. So the Major League Baseball All-Star selections came out yesterday. Kyle Schwarber going from the Phillies. He'll be the only representative because Bryce Harper can't play because of the injury. But certainly you can make a case for Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. They did not go. But I found this interesting. Shohei Ohtani, who is just unbelievable. I don't even know if we appreciate him as much as we should. But he's going not only as a pitcher, but a DH as well for the AL. That's pretty awesome, man. This guy's going to pitch in the game, and he's going to bat as well. So that's pretty sweet.
I like that.
He's being wasted out there. Yeah, in Anaheim, man.
He and Trout, man.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
they paid all that money, man. All that money is being paid out there, and they don't even go watch the games.
No, I know. There's just but you look at what he's doing, guys. So he's got 19 home runs, 54 runs driven in. As a hitter, as a pitcher, he's their ace. He's 8-4 on the season with a 2.44 ERA. He's got a better ERA than Zach Wheeler does.
My goodness.
Okay, just to put it in perspective, and he's thrown 81 innings. I mean, this guy is ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
Where does he bat? I want to know where he bats at.
In the order?
Yeah.
Geez, I'd have to see where they usually. Let me see where they usually hit him. I'll pull it up.
Was he in the 2-hole, 3-hole?
Well, I'll tell you,
man,
where I would ideally use him, I would ideally use him as a cleanup guy if it was kind of old school with that power. You know,
that's unheard of.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. Pretty
cool. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
He had a game last week where he was the first guy this year for, what was he, had 10 strikeouts in one game. Was it like 10 strikeouts, a stolen base, and something else? It was crazy, man. The stat line was crazy.
So they're hitting him 3. They hit Trout. It's Trout 2, and then he hits 3. That's a pretty good 2-3 in your lineup. But that's usually how they configure it. That's where the last time he pitched, that's where he hit. And he went 7 innings, by the way, of shutout baseball, 10 strikeouts against the Miami Marlins. So yeah, not bad. Pretty good work there out of Ohtani.
Oh my goodness.
So he ends up going. This is another really cool story. William and Wilson Contreras. William is with the Braves. Wilson is with the Cubs. William's going as a DH because Harper's hurt. Contreras is going to be the catcher. Those two are both going to start for the National League. 2 brothers.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool for their parents too. Hopefully, their parents get to come in and see that game, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, you would hope so, right?
Anytime you have siblings,
that's almost good as the Pop's son tandem when they played together. What's his name?
Ken
Griffey.
The
Griffey's.
Ken Griffey. The Griffey's.
Yeah.
Back-to-back home runs.
That
is still one of the all-time craziest things ever.
Right.
Those two are. The odds of them, Ken being so young, coming up so quickly, and older Ken still playing. They end up on the same team. They're in the same lineup, batting back-to-back, and they can both hit the ball out. Think about that. That's unbelievable.
Pops, you can't one-up me. Okay.
Yeah, right.
The argument is whose home run went farther.
Yeah, right.
Farthest.
Even if it wasn't Junior, Dad's got to say it was. Dad's got to take that one all day.
No question. Can you imagine being at the family dinner? For Thanksgiving?
Oh my God. Yeah. So the Yankees are sending 6 selections. The Astros are sending 5. They're the most of anybody.
Yankees only 6. I'm surprised they didn't send their whole starting lineup.
Yeah, telling you, man, you could probably take everybody.
What do they have? 24 wins? 24 losses? 26?
They're on pace. There's a chance they could set some records here in terms of wins. The Yankees right now are 61-25.
Jeez.
61-25. Yeah. The Astros are pretty good. I mean, they have 56 wins, so nothing to sneeze at for the Astros, but and the Dodgers have 56 also. So they're the 3, wins leaders right there in Major League Baseball. All right. So I mentioned this. I used to like tennis a lot more when I was younger.
Yeah.
I'm not honestly into it that much. Yesterday, before I went to work, I was watching a little bit of Wimbledon. Did you guys catch any of this? Because Djokovic won, and it's his 7th Wimbledon, and props to him. The guy's just a machine. But this guy Kyrgios, have you caught any of his act? He is a wild man.
No.
Wait. Is he worse than John McEnroe?
Different. Like McEnroe was just constantly on the umpire. He was constantly on. Big time hothead. Constantly. This guy is on the officials, but he's also engaging with the crowd, yelling at people. He thought somebody had too many drinks. He's yelling at this woman. Like he's a lunatic, man. And he's just different. He's an Australian guy. He's got the hat on backwards. He's got the bling. He's got the rocks in the ears. He's just a different dude. But I don't know how he maintains any concentration, because he's just he's constantly going off. you know, I think part of the reason that he hasn't won, you know, like a major like that is because he loses his mind, and Djokovic is just like straight and narrow, dude. But it was crazy to watch, man. If you get a chance to catch any like highlights of him, just take a look, because he's out there, man. He's a different cat, you know, that's for sure.
I think through the legs.
Yes.
I think it's a great marketing strategy by him. You know, I think tennis has lost a lot of its luster since the days of, you know, Chris Connors, John McEnroe, and his great battles. And I think as good as tennis, you know, you've had the Williams sisters, the Djokovic now and stuff, but there's not much personality.
Right. Like Nadal and Federer are just kind of,
they're great players.
They're
just there. There's no personality. And this guy has put a whole new level of energy back into the game. So, you know, I don't know if he'll ever be considered a great tennis player. Obviously, greatness is determined by how many, you know, majors you win, or, you know, a Grand Slam event you win. But the fact that people will watch that just to see what this dude might do next, to talk about it.
Yeah, he is that kind of guy.
I like the hat, though. The hat flipped up in the back. You know, I like to flip mine up in the front. He flips his up.
He goes backwards with it. Yeah, he goes backwards.
I like that.
I thought you'd like his swag a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. RG3, Robert Griffin III, is going to replace Randy Moss on the Monday Night Countdown studio show. He will. Yeah, I think they're keeping all the other. It's Sam Ponder, Rex Ryan, Schefter. I'm missing somebody. Hasselbeck. And I think RG3. I think that's Teddy Bruschi on that, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, Randy Moss is going to keep doing stuff for ESPN, but he's out on the Monday Night Countdown desk. RG3, who Barry, you know, did some college games last year. He's kind of working his way into the media. So
did a good job with college football too, man.
Yeah, he's well spoken.
Yep.
You know, and obviously he knows the game. And he's still a relevant name out there, even though his career may be said and done. He's still a relevant name out there. And so I don't think you lose much between him. Now, Randy was a little bit more colorful. Some of the sayings that Randy had, you know, you kind of gravitate towards. I don't know if RG3 is going to be like that, but I think RG3 is so well spoken. I don't think it's going to be that big of a hit for them in terms of replacing Randy with RG3.
Yeah,
so you got Moss and all that stuff, you know. But plus, he was cut as a box of cornflakes. You know, we love him.
He was West Virginia, man.
Oh my goodness,
right.
Yeah.
But you know, we love fish and stuff, and that's all he does is fish, man. He bass fish more than you, D Gun. You know, that's a lot, bro.
I read a story on him, and this was a long time ago. This was right after he retired. So you know, we're going back a little ways.
Right.
He was living in like and I don't know how he got in there, but it was like an over 55, like cold as some little like development. And all he did was fish. Like there was like no nightlife. He was just this like chill dude who liked living around like older folks. I don't know. I mean, whatever. Good for him.
He's like the perfect husband. The wife always knows where he is. He's either hanging out with old people or he's on a body of water fishing. He's not hanging out with the bars. He's not running the streets with his crew.
Yeah.
You know, so she doesn't have to worry about all that stuff.
He's changed a lot since the old days. Man.
Nice, simple life.
Yeah, there was a time, but when we were all at the old shop at NBC, that's all they used to send us out to do was fish.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah, you guys used to do a segment where you were
they would a weekly segment. Oh yeah.
It got so bad that Charles Barkley, man, started, you know, he watches it and he used to get mad and he'd be, you know, texting me and everything. Oh, you out there catching bait again, Brooksy? I'm like, come on, man. You know, D-Gun didn't make it any better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We had a great time.
Oh my God. All right.
I might go there tomorrow. I might go there tonight, actually.
There you go. You got
Go where? Across the street?
Yeah, across the street and go see if I can.
You still got some daylight. You could work at least an hour and a half, 2 hours in there.
Yeah, see if I catch me a snakehead or something, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you get one, get a picture. We want to see it.
Definitely.
All right. So Tony Sirico. Now you may not be familiar with the name when I say it like that, but Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos passed away. He was one of the all-time the white wall hair. He looked like a raccoon.
Oh yeah.
And he was just a funny dude, man. he helped. Like, it was a great show. Everybody was great in it, but the casting was just perfect, and he was another one who was just perfect in the show.
You look at a number of his movie. Wait, wasn't he a former mobster?
He was. So yes, he was legitimately in the New York mob.
Yeah,
he got arrested. He did time in jail, and while he was in jail, they would have like plays and whatever for the inmates. And he actually ended up talking to one of the actors, and it changed his life. And he got out of the gang, and he got his act together and took acting seriously, and the rest was history. So he's a pretty interesting story.
One of the most popular series in TV history. You're right. That's a great story, man, because the character was a natural for him because he lived it.
He lived it.
Yeah.
He looks like it too, bro.
He did.
He looks like it. What's the other guy that died last week? What was his name?
James Caan. James Caan. You talking about from The Godfather? Yeah.
He was actually a snitch, wasn't he? He said he was a snitch or something.
James Caan?
Yeah.
In real life?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
No. I never heard that.
Let me see. Hold on.
I don't think so. James Caan wasn't a guy who was in jail or running gangs or anything. He was just
then wrong person to take me off the list and whatever. You know what I mean? Don't tweet that. My fault.
Yeah, really.
My fault.
They'll be coming after you next.
Yeah, right. No, we've lost. And Dank makes a great point. We've lost Ray Liotta, James Caan, and now Sirico in like whatever it's been, a month. It's crazy. So all right. So I want to hit you guys with this. I always like to give you the birthdays. So we do have some pretty interesting. We had a president born today, John Quincy Adams, who was the 6th president, who helped develop the Monroe Doctrine. So we had a little different than our usual fare there. But 2 days ago, Tom Hanks, and you know where I'm going with this. There are a lot of movies to choose from the Hanks collection, man. This is a long, body of work with this guy of big time hits. He won back-to-back Oscars for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump. Boom, boom. In the mid 90s, early 90s, whatever it was. Just some of the movies. You guys tell me if I'm missing any. I just throw them out there. Forrest Gump, Philadelphia, Castaway, A League of Their Own, Saving Private Ryan, Green Mile, Catch Me If You Can. There's a bunch, and you guys named some great ones when we were kicking this around pre-show.
Sully,
Big, yeah.
I mean,
Splash from way back in the day.
Yep. Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle. That's a good one.
What about Castaway?
100%.
Castaway was a huge one.
100%.
He was so diversified in his ability to play roles. He could play the serious actor all day, and then he would play the comedy. Remember the movie back from 1989, The Burbs, where him and his neighbors thought their next door neighbor was killing people in the basic comedy, and come to find out they were like the Addams family was living next door to him.
Yeah,
and the wives, and nobody wanted to believe him and his crew. But that was a funny movie. That was one of those low budget funny movies.
Right. He fought a volcano.
Yeah, Joe versus the volcano.
Joe versus the volcano.
But Philadelphia.
It was great in Philadelphia.
But the two movies that just, out of all the movies I've watched of Tom Hanks, the two that just jump out at me, The Green Mile and Road to Perdition. Those two movies, man. I just watched Road to Perdition about 3 or 4 months ago again, and I watched it like I'd never seen it before. What a great character he played in that, a mobster who's on the run with his son, and how the movie ended. For those who haven't seen it, I don't want to tell how it ended.
It's been out long enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but the Green Mile, I mean, his character in the Green Mile is a prison guard. Wow, what an incredible acting job! All the guys that were in that movie.
That movie's awesome. I love that movie, man. It's really well done, and it gives you, I don't know, it gives you a little bit of hope, for mankind in some ways. It was pretty cool.
The world's going right now. You're right. Little is the operative word.
Right.
You need it.
Right.
I would say, look, I think ultimately the greatest movie he was in, I'm going to make a distinction. I think the greatest movie he was in was Saving Private Ryan. I think that movie is just
right.
unreal. That opening scene is as incredible as it gets.
Compelling.
But my favorite performance by him is Forrest Gump. I just love the time travel and walking through all the different periods of life during the, I mean, he runs into Elvis when he's a kid. He's going through Bear Bryant. He plays for Bear. He's a kick returner for Alabama.
Well, he walks out and he's standing next to a president.
He's standing next to a president. They're trying to segregate Alabama, and he's there with George Wallace. Like, he walks through everything, man. This guy.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
So I think that was his best performance, but Private Ryan's insane. I mean, insane, man. But he was great in Philadelphia too. It's really hard to pick.
You said his greatest performance. I don't know, Rob. I don't disagree with you, but that's Road to Perdition, man. He played that role to a T.
Yeah,
I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
I don't either. Right. But I can't disagree with you what you said about his best role. But you know what? People forget he's also the voice in the Toy Story franchise.
Yes. He was. Is he Buzz or was that Tim Allen? I'm trying to remember.
That's Tim Allen.
Tim Allen's Buzz.
He's the cowboy.
That's right.
Yeah,
the cowboy.
What's the name? Woody.
Woody.
Yeah, Woody. Yeah.
That's another tearjerker, man. Like,
bro.
Some
of the roles he has, like he literally plays a guy that's inside an airport terminal and can't leave, can't go home, has to stay. He's literally there, and we watched the whole movie about him just being in that terminal. Or being on an island. Half the time he wasn't even talking on that island, and he kept us watching the movie, man.
You remember the scene? You remember he's got a toothache. He's got and he uses the ice skate to knock it out, knock the tooth out. Oh man, that's cringeworthy.
I can do that. That's easy. I can do that.
That is some cringeworthy stuff, man. But then even the whole so he finally somehow makes it off of that island, and then he gets back, and it's kind of like, man, I'm not cut out for this in the real world now.
Yeah,
it was really complex.
Wife's gone,
wife remarried with kids. Yeah, she rolled.
He's used to sleeping on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's in that nice hotel, and he's got to fall asleep on the ground. He can't sleep in the bed. Yeah, it was good. It was
Forrest
good.
Gump, and remember he's with Jenny.
Jenny
for the first time with Jenny. He's there, and he touches her. Like,
yeah. Yes.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, he had a little moment. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man.
Jenny was hot, man. I can't kill him.
He's a great actor, bro. He's a great actor, man. That's one of the best, man.
Yeah, I thought you guys would enjoy that. So, he was born on the 9th, so we got him a little bit later. That's for sure.
Big.
So,
I mean, Big. He plays, a kid.
He's really good in that.
Body, man.
Yeah, that was before he blew up into superstardom. Like he's great in a league of their own.
Yeah, exactly.
As the manager, Jimmy Dugan.
Yep.
There's no crying in baseball.
No, and they're great with him. Like they go right back at him. They don't take any of his and they're fighting, and he's he was really good, man. He was really good in that. All right, so just to swing it back. So the beginning of the show, we discussed quite a bit. The firestorm that was set off on Friday, where Derek was basically giving you an account of what someone who was close to the scene saw during one of the OTAs, and everybody and their mother lost their mind to the point where AJ Brown is responding.
And
everybody's discussing it, jumping in on it, and again, it's just a classic example of to me a little bit out of context, but also it's okay to say someone didn't look good or they did look good on a certain day, and
but it's practice, Rob. It's only 7-on-7, and for those who were out there at practices, they didn't see it. So I'm making it up, Rob.
Right.
You know what? People, get a grip. Get a grip. Okay.
Yeah,
it's not life or death.
It is not. It is not.
I didn't make it up. For those of you who joined the show late, hey, did Gunner walk it back? Let me reiterate for you people who joined the show late. No, Gunner did not walk it back. If you know anything about Gunner, you've known his history and reporting news that he doesn't put it out there unless he has, authoritative, anonymous source. And those of you,
you're gonna give me that source, bro. One of these days you're gonna give me that source, man.
I ain't giving you nothing. You already got into my family circle. You ain't getting nothing else. That's it. You're done. And for those of you who didn't see it, Barrett also seconded that his source told him the same thing. But yet people out there who claim that, we're lying. We're making it up. It's clickbait. You're just trying to get attention. I don't need attention. I've been doing this over 4 decades. I've covered teams coast to coast. I don't need the attention. Why would I make it up? I understand you people feelings are hurt because I'm attacking your quarterback. But have you also heard me go on record saying that I hope Jalen Hurts 100% proves everybody wrong, goes out, has a phenomenal season, gets a $650,000 million contract? No, you people didn't hear all that because you only hear what you want to hear. And for those of you who think I'm going to sit here and walk back anything that I said, no. My track record speaks for itself. I don't have to walk back anything, okay? I didn't just catch it out of the wind and put it out there just to see how people would respond, all right? So you people who can't come to grips with that, that's on you, not me. If you don't want to believe me, don't believe me. I don't care.
I got you.
I really don't care. Don't believe me.
Yeah, I just wanted you to kind of circle back for people who maybe weren't watching.
No, you just want to stir the hornet's nest again.
That's what I'm trying to do.
You just want to get
I missed
gun fired up again.
That's right. I missed one thing that I wanted to throw at you guys. So did you guys realize that from 1971 to 73, Muhammad Ali lived in South Jersey?
I did not know that.
No. He lived in Cherry Hill.
No kid.
Okay. Yes, and the home that he lived in is on the market. Okay. Before I give you the price, tell me if you could guess how much you think it's worth. Okay.
Wait, do you know how big the property is?
I do. I'm giving you the square footage right now.
All right.
So it's 6,688 square feet, and it sits on a 1.5 acre plot. So how much do you think? Oh, let me give you some other.
Wait, how big is the house again? How big is the house again?
It's Cherry Hill. It's 6,688 square feet, 1.5 acres.
1.5 acres.
How much do you think that's going for?
Let's see. You couple in Jersey taxes because Jersey robs you in taxes. I'm going to say that house is going for. Now, see, there's got to be a twist to this because Rob brought it up. See, I know what it is. I just thought about that before I give you an answer because we're going to think it's some astronomical figure, and Rob's going to tell us something like $1. But because I'm coupling it with Jersey property taxes, I'm going to say about $7 million.
No, way lower. Way lower.
I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna say 1.7.
Okay, you're Barrett. Incredible guess. It's 1.8. It's
no
1.8.
That's it. 1.8.
Well, yeah, because my house is about 5.
Your Barrett's house is worth 1.9. No. So
well, let me give you some of the amenities. Okay, on this bad boy. It's got a pool. No surprise there. Okay. Hot tub, tennis court, basketball courts, 6-bedroom, 5-bath, a gym inside, a 12-foot wet bar, and a 3+ car garage.
Wow.
Gunner, come be my neighbor, Gunner.
What?
Come on up here and be my neighbor.
Man, I could never be your neighbor, man. I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do it.
You don't want to. That's what it is.
I couldn't do it, man, because I'd have to listen to you every day, trying to dog me in front of my family.
I never do, man.
And getting them believe.
All right, last thing. What do you guess he paid for the house?
About $240,000.
$108,000.
Jeez. What year? What year?
71. 71.
$108,000?
Yeah, man.
I was still when my pops eyed in, bro. So.
You can't even get a duplex nowadays for $108,000.
You can't get a row home
for $108,000, man. Yes. $108,000. Yeah. Imagine if you bought that house and just sat on it.
I know
all these years,
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, so that's not surprising, but there's a lot of notoriety to it. Now there's the that's good luck, and then there's the Ben Simmons house, which is bad luck for Nick Castellanos, who he needs to sell it and get out of there and get a new house. So there's that, but that's I thought that was kind of interesting. That's what Ali paid. Way back when, 100. You imagine the prices now. Oh my God, compared to that.
Oh my goodness.
I was.
Barrett, you live in Cherry Hill?
I live in Voorhees, right next to Cherry Hill.
Okay.
But I was actually down at the what hotel is that that Ben Simmons lived in? Down there on Broad Street.
Near Rittenhouse?
Yeah,
I know he was in Rittenhouse. I don't know which.
No, it's right there.
The Ritz. I don't know where he's at.
The Ritz Carlton, right? I'm down there, taking care of some business, and I talked to some people that were there. This guy came out and was walking his dog, and he said, "Yeah, Ben Simmons lived right across from me." And he said, "Yeah, he's selling his house right now for $4 million."
What?
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
$4 million.
Jeez.
Okay.
Woo.
There you go. Yeah,
Good.
Look at John Dickerson, Motel 6.
Oh my God! All right, well, that's going to do it for us today, gentlemen. It was feisty and fun and good. That's what it's all about.
Y'all got D gun fired up for no reason.
That's right. Let's keep firing him up. That's for sure. All right, want to thank Xander Krause, our producer of the program. Don't go anywhere. You get the National Football Show with Dan Cilio. And thanks to all of you who streamed, all of you who listened, everybody in the comment section. We appreciate you. For Barrett, for Derek, I'm Rob. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time.
Go for the polls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the polls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly.